We got a timer now. We've got a startup timer. That's great.
Nice. Little upgrades, just the little things.
Yeah, just the little things in life makes things so much better. Hello and welcome once again to our third time doing the TokuTonic shift. I am your host, Zio Agito, joined once again by a nerd named Mark.
It's me. I'm back, and I figured out our issue right when you hit while the timer was going down for the melon issue. So I know how to fix it.
Okay,
Thank
great.
God.
Great.
Amazing.
The Oxy 360, also known as Ash.
Yo.
And Cloudy here to be a seat filler once again.
Hi, I have a face this time.
He does have a face, even though I think you're kind of stealing my look a little bit with that hair. We're gonna have to talk after the stream.
I can change the hair later. It's fine.
There's only so much red. I'm just like we've got a color combination here that's just not
the shirt
like
is all me. You, if anything.
no.
That is
Nope.
mine.
I picked this shirt like a clear 40 minutes before the stream, and now I'm just here and you're rocking a Hawaiian shirt.
Excuse me. I'm
Look.
from the island. Excuse me.
So am I, from a different island.
Yeah, but this is my proper island rep. I gotta represent.
Okay, right. All right. Hello and welcome. So first of all, just checking in, seeing how everybody's day has been going. Mark, how's your day been going?
I got a 3-day weekend, and my wife is currently on a vacation. So obviously, I've been playing video games without wearing pants all day.
Nice.
The dream.
Ash, how about you? I know that you were playing some Xenoblade.
Oh, yeah. I'm slowly chugging through the story. I just made it up to chapter 5. Right now, I've been doing side quests, so I want to get all these subclasses and stuff like that. But a lot of fun with Xenoblade 3. I want to finish it eventually.
Eventually. I mean, it is a pretty long game.
Yeah.
But like I said, once you get to the end of chapter 5, like just pull up a seat and just let the cutscene play out. It's like a 40-minute long cutscene. I'm not even joking. Yeah. They're gonna hit you with them feels. So yeah, be prepared. Cloudy, what's good with you?
Been playing a lot of Hogwarts Legacy, much like Mark's wife. It's very fun.
I have not played anything today. I actually got in a nap for once. And you know me, I rarely sleep. I rarely manage to get any sleep, but like my body started shutting down at around 5 and I just said, whatever, let's just go to sleep. Passed out for about a good hour. I am actually feeling a little refreshed for once. So great way to ruin it by drinking alcohol. So that's the way to do it. All right. So on today's stream, we're going to be talking about, obviously, KingOhger. We had the big press conference that happened earlier in the week. There's a lot of nitty gritty and details to go over when it comes to that. Next up, we had some Hasbro numbers drop yesterday that, last week we were talking toys when it came to Sentai and Kamen Rider. Now we got to go to the Power Rangers side of things because, hey, it's that time of year with these fiscal numbers. And then the last thing that I want to touch on when we roll into the later half of the evening is, of course, discourse within the community itself, just because my comment section has been getting a little dicey when it comes to Dom Bros versus KingOhger, and I'm we got to talk about it. But first, let's talk about KingOhger. Just general thoughts first before we start breaking down some of the nitty gritty. Mark, what is your current mindset when it comes to everything that you've learned about KingOhger on Monday?
As the non-Sentai guy, the press conference was good. I really liked it, but I said the same thing about Zen-Kaiser and Don Brothers with their press conferences. The difference is I like this because it's different kingdoms. I'm getting Fire Emblem vibes from it. I'm definitely going to simp for yellow. Like, that's already been determined by my wallet and other things I own. Like, yellow is, that's my Sononi. But it does look really cool. Some of the, like, it's just, we're going to talk about your comment sections, but it looks from a pacing and a tone standpoint different than the last 2 years. So I'm hoping this is a show that I can end up watching every week. If that makes sense.
Serious show for serious guys like you.
I'm not that serious, but like, let's just face it. There's some ridiculousness at Don Brothers that does see better today, but just in general, I have a track record of not being able to make it past 6 episodes, and then I wait and binge watch.
Mhm.
And this is the first time I pre-ordered the DX Mecha already, like we talked about last week. I haven't done that before.
How are you when it comes to the size? Now that we know it's like half the size of Don Oni Taijin,
I can fit it on the shelf easier, so that's okay with me.
I need big Chungus mech. I'm sorry, like I need my Omega big Chungus mech.
I have no room. Do you see, there's limited retail space
You're-
behind me?
You're telling me I literally added a new like holder for all of my physical media on the side over there just so I can make some more shelf space on the other side of my room. So
Let me rephrase that. I have limited retail space that my wife has dictated I could put whatever I want on display. When we get the house, oh yeah, no, I can put big, huge DX mechas everywhere. I'll get the Zap ones even because they're to scale. But for right now, I'm like, oh, it's smaller. I'm fine with that.
hey, do what you got to do. Ash, how are you feeling about KingOhger after getting all the deets from the presser?
I'm looking forward to it. I mean, the trailer looked really cool. I liked how it had a serious theme to it. I am wondering how I'm going to do I wonder how I'm going to do feel watching it week to week, because it's probably going to start off with that slow burn, getting to know each of the characters. But after that, I wonder how the show is going to do moving forward. Is it going to move into that Monster of the Week Sentai formula, or is it going to follow like what we've seen with Don Bros and stuff like that and have a ongoing story while following the characters?
Okay, yeah. And Cloudy, how do you currently feel about it?
I'm very optimistic about this show. It's going to be kind of like a hard, maybe tonal shift depending on how serious the show takes itself comparatively to the last Sentai we're on. But as long as the acting is good, the characters are well written, and the action's relatively good, I'm gonna have some fun with this. Although the toys, I'm not looking forward to. I really don't care about anything that I've seen so far.
The toys have definitely not sold me on any of the mechanics or anything like that. But the story does seem very intriguing from what we got. Though I got something early. I have no idea like who this guy is, but they got some mix balling.
Oh my god, he knows purple already.
Like, I don't know who this guy is, but he looks a little familiar to me. I don't know what's going on with all that. But yeah, when it comes to KingOhger, so the first thing that stood out to me that's kind of like a true return to form is just the fact that we're getting a proper villain from the outset. It's not a fake out villain or anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like we got with the No-Toes in Dawn Brothers, we've got the Dathnarak Empire, led by Emperor Dathnarak the 8th, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And then his Prime Minister, Kamejimu, are like the two villains that have been shown so far. Let me see if I can pull up their images here to share on stream. Let me get it here.
Just so you know, Zio, purple has been like everyone on Twitter is simping for purple.
Really?
Yeah, it is
I
crazy.
honestly have not been looking on my Twitter feed at all this week.
Purple's been the talk more than anything.
Yeah, lots
Yeah,
of
everyone
fan
over
art.
in the
Fan
silver
out of
stuff
purple.
leak, but
It's true.
Purple.
It's
So-
ironic you chose that one.
I just gotta say, like, they've got a matching color scheming going on, so that's probably why that's going on. I feel like we're gonna have the waifu wars when it comes to my KingOhger reviews. That's definitely gonna be the thing. No, so looking at pretty much the lead of the Dathnarak Empire, I gotta say this is a pretty busy, like, head honcho, like big dick energy, like type of villain that we got here.
He's
like
got the Belial cloak on. I like that Belial inspired cloak. If we can make an Ultraman reference there.
I'm liking it because it looks like he can actually move and fight in that suit relatively clean. So that's my hope. There's some good action scenes.
I don't know. So looking at the perspective, obviously, if you know Suitmation and how all these things go, you would know that the actual suit actor's head is actually going to be in the neck. It's completely in the neck. So I feel that might lead to some cumbersome movement. But that's just how, Suitmation works. To give that higher stature, they gotta, That's why his shoulders look a little weird, is because the perspective to make it seem like they're higher up than they really are, but they're really a little lower.
Yeah,
But
you can see where his shoulders are easily right there.
Yeah, you can see the shoulders kind of end like right here, but you've got the silhouette thrown in there of the cloak being thrown on there. But you know, overall, it's actually yes.
Your video is frozen. Chat
Is it?
Said. Yes. Right, hit that start video on you real quick.
Oh my god, let me see.
It could be because you're screen sharing an image.
Oh yeah,
well, it's supposed to be brought in. Like that's why I was like, that's weird because usually it's a separate thing.
That's weird. Is it still like freezing?
No, now you don't have a face.
Yeah, now you don't have a face.
Oh, weird. Let me kill this. Yeah, real fast and see if I show up better or
there
not.
You go.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my god, it's literally Death Narak out here messing with my own vibes. God,
yeah.
It's just throwing it off. It's just throwing it off.
I do like how he looks though. He looks like not only physically imposing, but with the color scheme and everything else. I'm like, he looks like he's gonna like wreck people. But at the same time, they could just kill him off really quick. I don't know. But I like the way he looks from design. I'll buy the SH figure art for that.
Yeah, and generally, like the fact that we actually have a mobile, suit for this guy means that they can probably wreck face. And that's something that we definitely need more of because I'm kind of tired of CG attack villains. And that's all you kind of get, especially with something so sword centric that hopefully we get some good like fight choreography when it comes to this. Though he does not show to have a sword, so I'm really waiting to see once he pulls that one out, because I feel like if he does have a sword, that's going to be a pretty cool design in itself for how that's going to end up looking.
My headcanon is that he's going to be punching people left and right.
Probably if he can Falcon Punch the hell out of somebody, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So we've got the red, or rather not really the red, because they showed during the press conference that so of course, just backtracking, there's 5 kingdoms in the King-Ohger world. I'm not going to try and pronounce half of these names because they didn't really properly say them during the press conference, so I did not learn how to properly pronounce these names yet. So I'm not even going to try. But for, I believe it's Shogadam is the kingdom in which Gita is from, but on there is the proper king, which if you look at the translations for his name, it could be pronounced Raculus or Hacklis, or every single thing in something crazy. But he's not the KingOhger. He's absolutely not. Instead, you have Gita, who is, let me just go here and just, deal with a frozen camera for a little bit, I guess, just to get this guy's face out here. I don't know why it worked fine last week, but then
that's why I was like,
Ooh. Oh, there he is. Oh,
yep.
At least the froze was a good pose for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine. It works.
All right. So yeah, this is Gita, the KingOhger. Now, the main thing about this guy is, of course, when I did my own video for it, I did say that he comes off as a bit of a villain because his whole thing is to pretty much rule the world. Now, the other side note that I got from this is essentially he was raised as an orphan, but while being raised as an orphan, they apparently played heroes versus villains, and he was always typecasted as the villain amongst his friends. So he grew up having that villain speech, and because of that, he doesn't know how to turn it off. So even though he's a hero, he's got that persona of a villain, which I think is actually adding a good flavor to how his red would stand out amongst other reds, because he doesn't know how to shut it off. And probably in his own communications with the other Ohgers, once he runs into them, like they're just going to think he's a bad guy. And he's probably there to like take over their kingdom when he's really probably just asking for their help. And he just, once again, doesn't know how to turn it off. So I think that's actually a pretty neat aspect to his characters. What do you guys think?
I'm loving it.
He's gonna go ask for help. He's like, yeah, you're gonna help me. You're gonna go do this with me right now. It's like, are you asking? It's like, yes, of course. Now get over here and help me. Plus, I like the way he looks. I like all the the designs of all the costume stuff. I was like, that's where I got the Fire Emblem like reference because like what he was. I was like, man, that's a Fire Emblem character.
Oh yeah, he looks like the new Prince of Brodia. I forget his name. From the new game.
Yeah, and it's just like I think it's nice to have a main character or a leader that's not so cookie cutter because that gets kind of you fall into like the tropes and everything else of it. So like having a kid who technically was an orphan, but not but like always being the villain, but he's actually now a hero, and it's kind of like when you're typecasted as an actor and you're always doing action movies that you see him do a drama and you're like, wait, what? Like the action guy. So it's gonna be cool. And also we get the evolution of him always basically approaching and talking like a villain over time, him maybe learning how not to talk and act that way, which would be cool. So you already have, that seed planted for his character growth that it could possibly go a certain way.
I think
Antoine even says here, to me, it seems like they got inspiration from Fire Emblem, which isn't a bad thing at all. And I can tell you, as a Fire Emblem cosplayer, you can see my Roy sword in the background. Yeah, obviously that's not a bad thing for me at all either. Love me some Fire Emblem vibes.
It's true. I think the fact that he they put this specific kind of like character trait for him, like gets rid of like the fear I had of this show being way too serious because I really thought this was gonna be like tonally complete different from Don Bros, maybe like a show that you're meant to take a lot more seriously, and this feels like at least there's gonna be some comedic element with this, at least with each of the characters, because if you know anything about Purple as well, like they refer to her as Majesty because she's so cold to like her subjects that they can't refer to her as anything else and they're not even sure about her gender, but inside she's apparently like super warm and caring. So I'm looking forward to see that kind of
Well,
thing.
that's the thing about like all these characters that will kind of break down somewhat is that each of them seems to have a duality to their character, in terms of how they portray themselves outwardly versus how they actually are inwardly. Seems to be a common trend between all these characters. But real quick, Ash, what do you think about Gita's character arc from what we know so far?
I think he looks pretty cool. Someone in the comment section, stream chat, sorry, mentioned that it reminds him of Garo from One Punch Man with the whole playing as the villain as a child thing, which
Mhm.
I'm curious to see how they're going to do it in this show because, like you guys have been saying, if he's got the whole villain dialogue going on, I am curious to see how that is also going to develop over the show. But his design looks really cool, I will say that.
Yeah, the amount of drip like all these guys have is ridiculously good. So it's good. Let me go to probably my thirst trap of the season. I know it's definitely going to be Mark's, but yep. So we got Kamakiri Oja Ran.
Yep. Oh my.
So the big thing about her is she was definitely. Oh, do I got to play the sound for you? Go ahead, take that.
Oh no,
sip
I
again.
was actually just thirsty.
I was here ready.
But no, that's gonna happen a lot when I watch the show. So
no, so Ran was definitely inspired by Marie Antoinette and pretty much the French aristocracy in terms of design, which kind of plays into the casting choice that they did for her because, of course, she is Japanese Canadian. So she is actually a mixed actress portraying this character. So that's actually some pretty cool vibes that they have on there. Her as a character, from what we've seen, or at least what we've been told, has been that she is all about the style, the cute things, but being fabulous and all that stuff. And she's willing to take you down in a fashionable sense. But apparently she's got a side thing as being a little bit of a doctor type, meaning that she's all about the health and well-being of her people. So once again, we go into that duality with these characters. So real quick, Mark, what do you think about some Rand besides obviously looking as fine as she does?
It's intriguing. Like I always try to think when they like show off the characters like possible character growth. Like I always think of like, oh, what conflicts could this character be going through? But because I watched a brief version of the press conference once it got subbed, I didn't really deep dive into too much. So basically, as of right now, everything I have for an opinion of her is 100% superficial. I'm gonna simp. I'm gonna simp good. I'm gonna simp hard. It might financially hurt me, but definitely gonna simp. That's all. That's literally my initial reaction. I'm curious because like I'm just gonna simp. That's all I'm gonna say for now. I'm gonna wait till I watch the show and base like a real opinion on her. Right now, I'm gonna keep it like high school Mark, who's super shallow. Just
I'm gonna
Okay. All right. Cloudy, what do you think?
I think, yeah, she's definitely very appealing visually speaking. As far as anything with her character, I feel like at least early on there might be some conflict with maybe her and Red, considering like since she wants to be a doctor and is caring about like this whole medical standpoint of her own kingdom, seeing maybe like Red and acting potentially like a villain, and maybe that leading to her thinking that he doesn't care about his kingdom, even though it's a misunderstanding that might happen early on in the season or something. Obviously, I don't know, but it just seems like with her being very caring, that could lead to some conflict with the others, especially Blue, because he seems like very. Never mind. We'll get to that one. Get to that.
Yeah, which would be the next one. But first up, Ash, what do you think about KingOhger?
Yeah, I'm gonna simp as well. That's what I like.
Everybody out here just ready.
I got you.
All right. Yep. Get them drinks ready for them reviews, because boy, we going in.
I got water. I got plenty.
I'm gonna have to borrow the sound clip for my reviews.
If anything, I'll find a new sound clip from KingOhger's OST to put on there.
Right.
Music is great though.
Got to update it up. But yeah, in terms of her like personality of being like very style centric, and then being a caring, nurturing person on the side, pretty cool character dynamic that we have there. So next up on the character aspect, we've got ourselves KingOhger, who is the tech king, because apparently his kingdom is completely tech based. I think in the original information piece that they translated, it kind of seemed like he became the king of his own computer and then civilization. I don't know. It was some weird shit that I read regarding that one originally, to the point that I was just like, okay. He's got them light up pants. He's got them super cosplay light up pants. As someone that does a lot of LEDs on my cosplays just to show out, I understand the feel of hiding like USB batteries somewhere on your person just to keep them light ups going. But yeah, so his entire thing is, of course, that he comes off very like arrogant, very like hot-blooded in terms of his persona, which is typically the persona that's usually seen in a red versus a blue. So that's an interesting dynamic shift, especially since his other aspect is that he's completely loyal towards his towards the people of his kingdom. And if you mess with them or any of his friends, then you're about to catch those hands type of character, which I'm just like, yeah, this guy's really living the red persona just under the shade of blue. So Mark, what you think about him?
He's gonna be my favorite character on the show, I think, honestly. Like out of what we got from like obviously personal me being in tech and this and that, I'm like, all right, waiting for Premium Bandai to drop the pre-order for the pants because I will buy those. Because it's obviously gonna happen. But I do like that we have the arrogance and everything else, not from the leader, which is gonna be really cool. That may add another conflict between him and Red, or even the arrogance with Yellow. But I want more about the kingdom. Like I hope they spend a good amount of time with the character introductory episodes, so we get to see the like more in more detail and everything else. It's this like tech heavy kingdom, because that sounds really cool to me. Because when you think of kingdoms, you think, old timey kingdoms like back in the day with like King Arthur, that. You don't think of, there's different kingdoms, but we have the tech kingdom. So I'm curious not just about his character, but the kingdom that he's from as well. And it's blue, and I like that color blue. Like, nice.
I don't fuck with blue. So
really, I didn't notice. I think red might be your color.
I think so as well. There's this blue guy that lives in my basement. He eats trash and shit. Sometimes he shows up at my door. I don't give a fuck.
Nah, that happens.
All right, changing the rotation a little bit. Ash, what do you think about KingOhger?
His drip is freaking amazing. I will say, like that jacket looks really cool. It looks like he's kind of got a pompadour going on, but it looks like it just deflated. But hearing that he's in a kingdom of technology and stuff like that, I am curious to see what that's going to look like visually, and seeing how the mech designs work, where they're sort of piloting it. How do I describe it? Yeah, I'm wondering if his kingdom has something to do with that.
Oh, that is interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that
yeah.
one. It would kind of make sense from that aspect, just because he is the driving and tech force. Actually, looking at the guy's drip massively, I'm starting to get massive Tetsuya Nomura drives with like all the zippers on zippers aspects. This guy is a Kingdom Hearts character.
You can't have too many zippers.
Yeah, I'm just like the amount of zippers that he's got. He is completely a Tetsuya Nomura character. It's going to be on Kingdom Hearts. KingOhger, next world in Kingdom Hearts 4. You heard it here first. All right, Cloudy, what do you think about KingOhger?
Definitely my favorite suit out of all of them, because I think his face plate, like out of all the other KingOhgers, is my
It's the
favorite.
cleanest.
It's the nicest looking one, at least visually, I think. I'm very interested to see like this more hot-blooded character who's supposed to be the tech guy, because usually you got like the cool, smart blue character in like a lot of these Sentai series. So it's going to be interesting to see like someone who's very smart, but also this like rash, hot-headed, dives first into like, you know, situations to help his friends kind of personality. So I just want to see how these two sides of him are going to meld, because I don't know how they're going to do that as well.
Oh man, they're gonna do those headphones as premium Bandai, aren't they?
They probably are. I wouldn't be surprised if like all these guys
one thing from each person, like one thing from each like character that could be premium Bandai, and I'm like, it's gonna be those headphones.
It's gonna be the headphones and the pants. Actually, no, I can see everybody's whole fit being a cool grand.
Oh my god.
A cool grand. Definitely gonna be a cool grand.
It's got my wallet.
Good thing I have this fake $1 million bill.
Damn.
Why is Albert Einstein on that?
I don't even know. I found it there, and I was like, "What is this?" I was like, and it's promoting a website that has movies that are obtainable without.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I just found it, and I was like, "That's my premium Bandai fund."
Oh, all right, so moving on, it's Twitter's best person. It is Rita, who is the Papillon Ohger. So, of course, the big thing about her, as mentioned previously, is, of course, that she comes off with a very cold exterior. And, of course, she also comes from the coldest kingdom, being surrounded by mountains in frigid winter year-round. So that cold exterior gets represented outwardly to every single one of her adversaries, as well as anybody that they come across. However, her entire demeanor is the complete 180 once you actually get to know her. So that's the main thing about her. It's like, don't judge a book by its cover. What may seem intimidating on the outside might actually be a little bit softer on the inside. So what are the vibes that you're getting from Rita, Mark?
Usually, and I talk about this whenever I do videos ranking suits for anything, like one of my guilty pleasures in Toku is purple on suits. But I don't like this purple. I like that because she's from an ice kingdom, it's like kind of like a more ice type purple color, not like the darker purple we're used to with like a lot of commoner suits. But this purple doesn't do it for me. This is like one of the few times where I'm like, oh, purple in a Toku suit? I don't like this. But the character itself, like I like the civilian outfit. I like that black with that purple and like the little ninja mask going over it. That's cool. But
simp.
Yeah. Okay. Graph, that's all you. That's all you. When you get, just don't get too cold. But I do like the civilian drip. Like I like that little ninja mask. It's just, I don't know. I can understand why everyone's like this the main person everyone's talking about. But for me, I'm just like, all right, that's cool. Yeah, like somebody said, it's more lavender. Yeah, it's lavender. I don't mess with lavender.
The color throws me off a little bit just because I kind of like. Oh, did we just get a super chat? There it is, $10 from the Straggler. Shine on Zio. Keep being the best. Completely appreciate that.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you. But yeah, so the collar on her, I feel like the civilian fight scenes are kind of going to be a little cumbersome. And the thing is, like, you expect them to have some civilian like fight scenes when it comes to this, but I'm getting like Batman 89 like collar vibes, like unable to move your head too well just because of that. Like, look at that. That goes past her eye from how high up it goes. That's going to be a bit of a challenge when it comes to just trying to like move around when you're fighting. Otherwise, like, I feel like that's going to be like a temporary fit. I think once we actually get to like people understanding that character, like that collar is either going to get shrunk or gone.
Well, it zips on the side, so it's probably going to be zipped down and folded down.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Like how some coats have the super high collar that can end up going in that sense. So yeah, the real interesting thing that I got from the press conference regarding her actress, however, is while they were asking all of the other actors in terms of like what other tokusatsu shows that they might have like grown up with or like related to or anything like that when they were younger, she didn't watch TV as a kid. She wasn't allowed to watch TV as a kid. So she actually could not talk to any previous Sentai, any previous writer show or anything like that when it came to a form of reference because she didn't watch TV versus everybody else. So I was just like, ooh, we got an actual like fresh person.
That could be a good thing though. You don't have any previous knowledge or any like to like sway how you might act in a scene.
Yeah, or any characters
that like you're a full clean slate to be molded into that character. They can't be like, hey, you're kind of like these 4 characters. Nope, they're just going in based on the script and what the director wants.
Let's see. So going off of memory graph, if I remember, Gira's actor said that he enjoyed Kuga and I think Abba Ranger. And Blue was a fan of Deca Ranger. Specifically, he simped for Deca Yellow. So, my man! Instant fave right there. Kamakiri Oger ran. She and her siblings watched Forze when they were younger. So she just remembers a lot of the Uchu Kita moments that we had there.
It's fate.
And then God, what's I just remember he's Black Dabowski, that weird name. Dabowski, we're gonna get to him in a moment. He's a fan of Die Ranger, Shishi Ranger specifically from Die Ranger. Not only that, but of course he said that he could relate to several of the other characters, especially since he originally auditioned to be Tsuyoshi in Dawn Brothers.
Oh.
Yeah, he originally auditioned for that, did not get the role, but hey, we'll see how it pays off over here. But once again, like we're gonna get to him in a moment, but another cast member that's in their 30s for Sentai, that's a thing.
It's gonna be nice.
Yep. So anybody else got some Cloudy? I didn't get your opinions.
Purple.
Yeah, purple.
I gave some of mine earlier by accident when I was talking about red because, well, I guess purple's the big hype thing everyone wants to talk about. But I am very curious about, like, for example, like how she's gonna interact with all the other ones because of her cold personality, and like if they're ever gonna like figure out or how they're gonna warm up to her. And 2, this is like the big thing. I'm just seeing from her design, this definitely looks like the type of character that's gonna have the internal monologue that we're gonna be like zooming in. She's gonna say one thing, and then we're gonna zoom in on her face, and we're definitely gonna hear something else in her mind, like in her train of thought. So I'm hoping she's more like that. And yeah, from everything I've heard from your Discord, she is very popular, especially with Elena. Very popular.
All right, and Ash, your thoughts when it comes to Papillon Oger?
What everyone else has said, but seeing how they're from a kingdom of snow, I'm wondering, and I doubt it because there's a lot of kingdoms of snow. I'm wondering if they drew inspiration from the Kingdom of the North from Game of Thrones with the whole snow vibes going for it.
Oh yeah. It also reminds me of the ice area from Full Metal Alchemist. If you guys have
Oh
ever
yeah,
seen
yeah.
that.
Actually, yeah, I got
know
similar
that.
vibes, especially given how she was holding her sword with the wind blowing, and exactly from Brotherhood like vibes. So
Exactly.
yeah, yep.
Great.
So
Now I'm
it's
thinking
some good
of that
stuff.
one scene from Fire Emblem now, or not Fire Emblem, Full Metal Alchemist.
What is it? I gotta know, please.
You know the scene
Oh,
exactly.
Edward. What?
Shut up,
All
Cloudy.
right. All
There's
right.
once a year that pops in my head.
Sorry.
So moving on, obviously we got KingOhger, Kaguraki Dabowski, out here from the land of agriculture. So he comes from a more rural kingdom out of anybody else, which is why his drip looks a little bit more like classic Japanesey, but with that added drip on the side. Big thing about him is that looks can completely be deceiving when it comes to him because he is the sneakiest of the bunch. Because anything he says can completely be a lie because it's only for his own self or kingdom's personal gain. So you can't take him at face value, even though he may come off as endearing and sincere. It's just the game he plays. So, how do you feel about that one, Mark?
Dude, he's the drip king. The drip king.
You see that man's boots?
Like
Oh, they're
everything.
great.
Like that is the fit of the show. I was like, oh, and then I like the idea that like because everyone's like king. He's the only one so far from what's been given for information that's like ready, like only cares about his kingdom. The prosperity, like lying. He's basically Eddie Guerrero. He's gonna lie, cheat, and steal for his kingdom. So, and I'm like, I like that idea because that's a king.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, and
Yep.
I want, and that's gonna really play into the dynamic the most out of everything because of being sneaky and this and that. And I'm like, he's like the wild card of the group. And personally, even though sipping for yellow aside, I'm the most intrigued by how he's gonna act in the dynamic of the group more than anybody.
Yeah, and I kind of think, given how everybody's like duology, his second side is not exactly a good one in compared to everybody else. Everybody else is like, oh, I'm a little bit more endearing, a little bit more like, oh yeah, I get it. His just like, nah, I'm gonna fuck you over for my kingdom, bro. Like that's exactly the vibes that we get from him. Cloudy, how do you feel about KingOhger?
Love his energy. Like I think like out of everyone, he was the one jamming the most to the intro during the big reactions scene. But I don't like his faceplate. I it's just something I can't avoid. I hate the faceplate. It does not look great. The suit, the rest of the suit, I like just fine. It's just the bottom jaw piece. I can't.
It should have been silver. It should have
yeah,
been
right.
silver.
Out
It
too
would have
much.
fit more. And to the other thing, the fact that this is the guy who auditioned for Tsuyoshi, right?
Yep.
The fact that he auditioned for Tsuyoshi specifically from Don Bros means that I feel like we're going to get a lot of that performance in this. Because if you know anything about Tsuyoshi from Don Bros, and being selfish, self-centered, lying to get what you want, specifically to serve your own needs, I feel like we're going to get a lot of that in here. So I'm very excited because seeing some of the stuff Tsuyoshi did in Don Bros was very entertaining. So I'm pretty sure some of the stuff we may see from him may be shocking or very unexpected from a typical Sentai.
You're right, Graf. I'll sell you out in a moment. No.
I would never lie, cheat, steal, or oh god.
No. Don't get intimidated by this exterior. I am a very sympathetic kind of guy.
I believe it.
For the record, I'm not.
Don't lie,
All
Mark.
right.
You know you are.
Shut up, Cloudy.
All right, Ash.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts when it comes to KingOhger and that faceplate?
The faceplate, I liked it when I saw it, but like maybe the lines could be smaller because they're too thick. But this character, I feel like, is going to be someone you love to hate with how he deals with his kingdom, because he's got his own best intentions, but he's probably going to be that guy that you love to hate. But I don't know, like I think I might enjoy him, but we'll see where it goes. But his suit does look cool, I will say that, and his drip is amazing.
The black they use for like the armor bits of the suit is fantastic.
Oh, the
Yeah,
shine
that-
on that looks great.
It's
Yep,
so good.
having that nice sleek black and then the gray on there as well. Like seeing the suits a little bit more in action has started to sway me more in terms of like liking them a bit more. I still don't like that they all use the same sword. I wish that there was some variation when it comes to that, but overall, yeah.
Are we gonna call Black the big Lebowski?
The big Lebowski.
Big
Yes.
Lebowski.
Oh god.
I mean, when they get, I'm still shocked they gave him a name like that with the Japanese drip. Yeah, let's give this guy a very like Russian-esque name, even though Purple technically should have gotten the name, but whatever. We'll give it to the guy from the rural country. You're the Browski. It's like, okay, nice.
Oh, Zio, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
That comic book kid asked a pretty good question. If, say, that faceplate wasn't an issue and had like that silvery color, would that be more of your favorite suit, or would purple or blue be your favorite suit? At least according.
I mean, purple and blue are still my favorite like colors for this season. I'd have to do like a quick Photoshop of this to see if it would change my mind, but visualizing it in my head, it would probably put it up there. The thing is, there's something about like blue and purple's like overall faceplate, just because the fact that they have the entire design of the insect incorporated on there onto the mouth plate, and it just seems so clean in terms of those aesthetics, just being one solid color, that it works well. The thing is, it's like if they were really just going for the black look on here, then I'm just like, why not change his visor color to go along with it? Like if you weren't going to try and go like all black, maybe change the visor to being like a gold color along with the mouth plate to go along with that, and possibly like change up those aesthetics a little bit, because almost every time that they always have like a black Sentai, they always do something in terms of color scheming to throw them off from the rest of them, just because the color combination like is hard to like divide those colors, or else you just look, you know, completely one-toned.
True.
So if they had just changed the visor along with it, maybe it could have gone a little bit better. But
What do you think of the other two, by the way, Kawagata and the yellows? Because yellows, I'm sorry, Kawagata's I liked when I first saw it, but seeing the helmet closer up, I'm not really enjoying the spacing, because you can see the thing behind the. Yeah, God.
Yeah. So Kawagata, just because they've got the lines going on between like the leg pieces for the face, is part of the reason why I don't like his helmet. It just throws off the dynamic a little bit for me, which is why he's got one of the weaker suits out of the bunch. Kamakiri, there's just something about the Mantis design on I think it's like the way it protrudes just reminds me, and of course, like I'm gonna say it looks a little Down Brothers-y when it comes to like the sunglasses motif. But if you guys know me, you know that I'm actually not a big fan of the Down Brothers costumes. So yeah, it's just just looking on here. It's something about the visor that just throws things off for me. I think it's just because it's maybe too squared off at the very top. That kind of throws things off for me, like right there. If that probably was at a bit more of an angle, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like if they brought like the middle part down a bit, like if you see like the two sections, I feel like that would look a lot better.
Yep. So previously I did mention the character of Rackless, who is the proper king of Shogadam. Let me bring up this man and his proper drip once again. Like out here just rocking the cleanest look. It's like Gita, but better because it's black.
Some regalia drip right there.
Yep. I love me some black and red color combinations. So that's a good thing on here. So essentially, he is still going to play a role in the season. He's not really considered the 6th of the season, but would be considered the extra ranger of the season, because he will end up transforming into KingOhger. So it will be very similar to Red's design, just in a different color scheming. I think based on the toy catalogs and things like that we've seen, he's either gray or silver.
Yeah,
I don't know this.
Plush got. I think a photo of the actual plush got
plush
leaked.
got leaked.
Oh.
Yeah, so there was a picture going around. Initially, it had the silhouette on there that looked exactly like KingOhger. but then the new leak shows that it's pretty much just a recolor of it that is KingOhger that would be Rakulis's character. So he's not really considered the sixth proper. He's just going to be like just the extra ranger of the crew. And I'm wondering what in the story is going to be the motivation, like the motivational factor to have him go ahead and have Gira still like kind of represent his kingdom, but then that he still stays handling business at home. So
I was kind of hoping to be like Tuxedo Mask. He just shows up and does something. Like, well, my job here is done, and then he leaves. It's like, but you didn't do anything.
You just roses everywhere. That's it.
Because he looks serious. He looks serious, but I'd like it if maybe he was kind of like, couldn't be bothered with, you know, being a part of the team or really helping out, but he has the ability to if he needs to.
So Crazy Orb asked this question regarding, do you think that Red is actually the king's long lost son or something? And look, based on the actors' ages, just okay. So Rakulis's actor, I think, is 32, 33 years old. And Gira's actor, I think, is 24 years old. So unless the king was getting down and dirty way, way young, I don't think it's a son situation. I think it's more of if there's any tie-in in relation to him, it might be like his half-brother or something. Like maybe the former king, like his dad got down and dirty, and just because he had a child out of wedlock, which is, you know, common for royals, then he just stuffed them in an orphanage type deal. Yeah. So the thing is, how do you feel his storyline would end up correlating with Gira's? Because obviously they both come from the same kingdom. Gira stealing his swag. How is this related? Ash, what do you think?
Well, like that's how it would caught me off guard. It's hard to say because I thought that the silver one was the Sixth Ranger because I don't really keep up too much with the leaks. But I'm guessing that something's going to happen in the first episode. I thought Reckless is going to die in the first episode, and that will make the Gira King in the show. But we'll see what happens.
So I don't know if you've seen Magi Ranger at all. So that kind of gives me like vibes to like Magi Ranger, where their mother essentially gets beaten in the beginning, and because of that, she has to pass on the abilities or have her children go ahead and take on the role of fighting in her stead. So that would be an interesting dynamic, except, you know, Magi mother shows up later on. So hey, once again, it's Sentai. No one stays dead forever unless you're a Abare killer or Gaiuki.
Time Fire.
Yeah. You'll come back in some way, shape, or form. We got crossovers. You'll come back. Cloudy, what do you think about Rakulis?
I'm a fan of his look, especially. It gives me very much Master Logos Isaac vibes. Only Mark would get that because he's seen Saber. Sorry.
I do get Isaac vibes from the face.
And because of Isaac, I'm hoping there's a lot to do with this guy because I want to see what kind of king he is. I want to know if this guy's more of like the stern, like more serious kind of king compared to like our Red, or maybe he's, you know, maybe more jovial. Who knows? He definitely seems like he's confident, at least from the way he presents himself. As far as whether or not he'll die in the first episode, I'm thinking maybe if they want to keep the character around, he may either get captured by the Empire in some way in the first episode, or maybe his sword's going to break because he's going to fight the big bad episode 1, and then bam, can't transform anymore because he's not any of the posters. So
he does definitely seem the most kingly out of every other king that we've seen. That seems like to be the proper like aspect of his character. And the thing is, him being a similar age to KingOhger makes me think that maybe there might have been a prior relationship between those two in terms of aspect. Just because normally that's how it goes in terms of these tropes, is like if you're similar in age, then you probably have some history together. And there might end up being some correlation between him and KingOhger that we just don't know about yet, that might actually end up being a cool background for maybe KingOhger not accepting Gira as KingOhger when they first meet, because like, nah, I've seen the real you and you're not him. That type of thing. And I think that could end up building a pretty cool character aesthetic if that actually ends up being the thing.
True.
Now, in terms of story, how do you guys, since we really don't know too much besides the Dathnarak Empire shows up after like 2,000 years, they start wrecking shit, and because of that, like, you know, that's what gets the plot going. How do you guys feel like the plot progression, or like what would you like to see like be the general like A to B plot point that we have from this? And I'll start with Ash.
So, seeing how that the Bugnarok is going to start wrecking shit, I'm wondering to see how much damage they're going to do to all the kingdoms to make these 5 characters come together. Because I get the feeling that are they going to work from separate kingdoms, or are they going to have one big like sort of round table to discuss stuff at when doing meetings? But where we're going to see A to B, it's hard to say. Like, I get the feeling it'll start off with the kingdoms being destroyed, and then we'll see as the show goes on to see how it's going to end, because it might do a complete 180.
Okay. And Mark, what do you think?
I'm going to piggyback off of Ash's idea. And so, like a kingdom being destroyed, where they could be central. I hope it's blue because tech, they have a nice, cool little like tech central hub. But playing into the difference of each character, but also their kingdoms. You got black, that's very agriculture, blue's tech. I'm hoping there's like, not from a trope standpoint, from point A to point B, there's a method and a reason why the kingdoms are being attacked. They all have something to offer. So I hope that plays a major part in the story. Be like, okay, they're going to black's kingdom now because it's agriculture, and blue for the tech. So we see why they're going, and I hope it's like that they stay in the themes of the diversity of the kingdoms and what their strong points are, as kind of pushing the motivation of the villains. Because I kind of like that, like, because that would give us a diverse standpoint of from an episode in storytelling to like if they do a 2-episode arc for blue or for yellow, this that like showing off the kingdoms, but then
and what they mean to each character,
exactly,
and what they can learn from each other.
Yeah, like and how is and just then them coming together, but then like, there's just so much because like we haven't gotten much. There's a lot of potential there, so everything is just like throwing stuff at a wall. What's going to stick for theories? But the fact that there's such a difference in not only their character types but their kingdoms, I'm hoping it's not a shallow reason when they all just team up. Oh no, we're under attack. Let's all just team up. Like have, you know, black is because black and blue, because they're so different, agriculture and tech. So it's like black, they're all agriculture. They're going to blue for some tech, maybe to help like rebuild some stuff and better their farming. You know, just stuff like that. Like bring in the actual kingdoms and their strengths into also the dynamic of why they might need to be around each other and help each other out.
All right, Clouder, what do you think?
I don't know exactly what to expect from the season. Like I know what I really wish that we get to see, which is that I hope we get some very like deep backstories, like why these characters have to present like the outward exterior from like that they develop each individually, because obviously everyone has like a duality and like an other personality, but I want to see like why it is that it's that way, like why they're hiding it or they're not being so upfront about these things. Whether it's just a certain culture in their kingdom, or if it's because they were raised a certain way by the previous king or queen of their particular region, because that would be nice to know. So I'm just really hoping we get a lot of character driven focus stuff, because the last thing I want is to know about this world and what they're fighting and all this other stuff without knowing the motivation behind these guys and like basically why they're you know, what makes them so royal and why they have to present themselves like this for their kingdom.
John, just so you know, I am drinking a Mike's Harder half and half tea and lemonade. And once I down this one, I've got a second one waiting for me. So yes. So going into the not a sponsor. So going into
Right, you got to throw that out there.
I was gonna do it. So when looking at this stuff, like you guys know, I'm very over analytical when it comes to a lot of the stuff that I look at. So I try and like dissect what I see and try and attribute it to what can possibly end up going on. Now, during the trailer, the majority of what we see is it's just the kingdom of Shogadam being attacked, meaning Red's kingdom, Gita's kingdom, is the one that's getting wrecked. in the first episode. The thing is, there's got to be something that ends up leading to the king getting deposed and Gira feeling that, maybe this king's weak. It's my time to shine. I'm in here anyway. I'm going to take up your sword and I'm going to be the one that's going to properly show you how it's done. And then he wrecks face. But then afterwards, he realizes that it might not just be his kingdom that gets taken over. So he's going to go on a journey and go to these other kingdoms and meet with all the individual kings to try and take over their kingdoms. Once again, it's going to be one of those where he's essentially just trying to be good-natured and kind of warn them of the threat of what's coming. But in his verbiage, because of the way that his character is, it might come off insincere, like he's just there to take them over, as a declaration of war aspect, meaning that the very beginning might end up playing out kind of like the original script for Saber, where they were going to go around, beat up all of the other writers, and eventually just have a common enemy at the end to fight against. It might just end up being very similar in terms of that aspect, where Gita's going to each of these individual kingdoms, maybe a 1 or 2 episode arc each, butting heads with them, having a one-on-one fight with them, eventually gaining their trust or their reluctance, and then forming the squad towards the end, meaning that we probably won't have a proper team until around episode 6, 7, or 8 towards the end, in terms of the first arc of building the team, because that's usually how Sentai always works. The very beginning is always the building or the foundations of the team before you start really getting the ball rolling. So those are my 2 cents on how I think this might end up playing out in terms of those aspects. So my 2 cents. So someone mentioned on here that we didn't talk about their servants, their retainers, whatnot. I don't have the images for them individually, but yes, every single one of these kings, except Gita, actually has their own retainers that accompany them throughout, it looks like throughout these journeys, making our roster actually a little bit larger than it would be. And once again, it's very Fire Emblem-y, because if you know Fire Emblem, each lord normally comes with 1 or 2 retainers that follow them, when you first get that unit. So, Cloudy, I'll start with you since you're the Fire Emblem aficionado. How do you feel about the servants?
I'm grateful that we'll have servants for each of them. So at least the fact that I think that each servant will probably do something to counterbalance their king. For example, because Blue's so brash, maybe his servant will be more calm and reasonably speaking, rather than so emotional and impulsive or something So I really hope that whenever we see these servants, they'll have a good, playoff or foil for whatever their respective kings are. I really like the fact that each one has their own thing. Servant, because they're not just bouncing off each other now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Mark, what do you think?
I'm the exact opposite. Honestly, I want Blue to have a douchey hype man the whole time behind him. Yeah.
He's just got a boombox and everything.
It's we got tech.
Got a Lil John.
Yeah.
Just
hyping them up. I just want one of them to just have a douchebag hyping them up. And then Yellow can have that creepy servant who's just just staring at everyone why are they all looking at her? They all have impure thoughts. Look at all these simps around her. Just something that feeds in. It's nice to have a balance, but I want something that feeds into each one. A little bit. Just a
Man, now that you mention that, I want Blue's servant to just show up, lay down a cardboard on the ground so Blue can just go down and just start fucking breakdancing 80s style.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They got the tech. He's got a little portable box.
It would be so good. That scene alone would live on in infamy if we get that.
The Capsule Corp, he opens a capsule and just throws it down. Yeah. It's a boombox, cardboard, and everything just right there.
And he just, oh my god, that would make it instant 10 out of 10 for me if they did something like that.
Just
all right. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Ash, what do you think about the servants?
They're okay. I mean, Blue's one, since we're on the subject of Blue, I'm looking at the image right now. He's got a webcam or some kind of light on his head. So I'm guessing he's got some kind of LED light on his head. I don't know if you've seen it, but he Blue's got all the zippers. His servant's got a giant bag that he probably carries around all the tech in. The other ones, they look pretty normal, I will say that. Yellow's probably got like that old man servant, but not much really to say about them. I do like their outfits. They do look pretty cool, but they'll probably die in like a couple of episodes later down the line or in the end game.
Oh gosh.
Gotta drive them stakes already, man. Already killing off these characters.
And
I was about to say that
they all die on Christmas.
I was about to say that I thought that they were gonna that they were gonna end up being the ones that pilot the auxiliary mechs. Since the KingOhger has like 10 robots in there, I figured the servants fit into those.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
Because I'm just like the numbers kind of add up. If there's so many little tiny mechs to go along in there, maybe it's the servants that end up piloting them or something, or at least remote controlling them to go onto the main unit, which is pretty much the next thing. The piloting of this mech is so G Gundam-esque.
Oh yeah,
So
change the game. Change like that was the part of the trailer that got me. When I saw that, I was like, boy,
definitely.
this is going to be
My
exciting.
part.
Oh my god.
Yep. Because they're changing it up. They got that nice LED like background going on behind them, that like Mandalorian style tech going on. Then they've got like the huge like articulation of the arm going on in there, which makes me wonder what are the other guys going to end up doing? Like, while it looks like Red's the only one piloting the mech, since the Kawagata, like the god beetle, I forgot the name of the main mech, is his. That he's the one using it. So is he going to be the lone pilot of this thing? And the other guys are just going to stand out, just going like, you got this, guys. Like, we're just going to go over here and fight the people. Yeah.
He's got it.
So how do you guys feel about the pretty much the aesthetics of the cockpit? Because they're changing it up. They're making it not just a pedestal of them just like wacky waving, flailing or anything like that. They've actually got full on like tech behind it that makes it seem very feasible to how this mech would get piloted.
I'm just waiting for scenes when the mech is actually losing to see them in that harnessed exo like style, just like the damage they would take while it's getting damaged, because they're not just sitting in a cockpit or standing behind a pedestal anymore. They're actually controlling it, and I like that. And if you've seen any movies, someone pointed out Pacific Rim. I don't talk about that mid-movie, but like Robot Jocks, G Gundam, stuff like that, like we'll be able to see the effects of the mecha battles on them, hopefully. But I think it's cool. I think it's a nice change. Like, and obviously bring out Mandalorian to that filming style, this and that, the new tech that they're using instead of just the old school, just plain green screens. So I'm really excited. Like, that brief scene, I was like, this is cool. This is a step forward in production value.
Yep, absolutely.
I hope it's a stepping stone, not to minimize it, but in what will continue to grow for the production value.
Yeah. Cloudy, what do you think, since you were about to talk as well?
Oh no, sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just gonna say I'm very excited for this because it looks like like Sentai tends to, like, if you're looking at the past couple of them, like not recently, but before those, it tends to be kind of stale. Like, things don't really change. You got relatively the same formula. Like, each time the mech is piloted relatively the same way and stuff like that. And recently, I feel like Sentai's been trying to like come up with new creative ways that they can do the same, spiel relatively. But I'm very hopeful that this means that this isn't your typical like cast of 5, banding together to fight a specific evil, and there'll be a lot more politics involved in this. And like, I'm just digging the changes.
And Ash.
Yeah, I like it. Like, I'm curious to see it. I'm curious to see it in action when we see the mech dropping in not Dombros, in KingOhger. Because it's so different. Like everyone's been saying, it's so different from what we've seen so far. And I'm just curious to see the execution of it. Like, is everyone else going to have this same format of piloting the mech, or is it just Red?
Yeah, so I pulled it up here. Like, yeah, look at the whole robot. It looks like it's got eyes and everything at the very top. Like, it's a personal assistant that goes onto that whole thing. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Blue
developed that for sure.
Oh, it's got a little sword on the hand too. If you look.
Yeah. So it holds the weapon within there. That in itself really great aesthetic that we got going on for in terms of piloting. It actually made me hype for the mech battles overall, just seeing that.
I know we saw it in Dawn Brothers ever so quickly, but I didn't like the mech when I saw it in the posters, but seeing it in action, I'm really enjoying it. So hopefully, since there's 10 more, it's not completely a cluster of like just random and bulkier parts.
By the end of it, it probably will.
Yep.
I really hope it.
Actually, if anything, I kind of think just because of the piloting style that they got for it, and because they probably want to maximize on Mecha toy sales, I can foresee every single Sentai getting their own personal large mech.
Especially with the auxiliary ones, yeah, I could see that happening.
Damn.
Because it's like everything about like the KingOhger mech itself just screams red. Because the majority of the accents on there, like all the other like bugs that are on there, the ladybugs, the spiders, and all that stuff just complement his color scheme. The only thing that really changes is really just the boots because he's wearing the other guys as his feet. And that's really it. So I'm just like, this overtly red color combination makes me think that the other four are going to get their own main mech down the line as well.
You can only hope.
Hey,
I'd be okay with that. That'd work
it could
out.
be one of the changes and formulas just to drive up them toy sales when it comes to a lot of that. So wrapping up things on KingOhger, any last words when it comes to thoughts and ideals on KingOhger before we move on to the next subject? So Mark, last thoughts.
Good sim for yellow.
Okay.
Just gotta put that like. No, I'm actually really excited. Like after, the last couple of seasons, giving it the 5 to 6 episode chance and not being able to keep up with them, I'm very hopeful just from what we've been presented from my standpoint. Like I said, not the Sentai guy. I think this already is looking to hold my interest where I'm about 75% sure I'll make it past the 6 episode mark with it, and I will probably watch this week to week.
Okay. Cloudy.
Very hopeful, very excited. I think everyone I feel like if they wanted to get more people like interested in the Sentai, especially with what they did with like the characters, they're gonna get a lot more attention because a lot of people are really start loving some of the characters that we're seeing in this show.
I do feel in terms of recommendation for like how to get into Sentai, a lot of people are just going to recommend watching this one along with everybody else week to week, just because from a design aesthetic, it's very pleasing. And then because of the fact that it looks like it takes itself seriously versus the tone of what we got in something like Dom Bros, maybe people can find that a little bit more palatable. So, Ash, what are your thoughts?
I'm excited. It's crazy to think that Dawn Brothers is wrapping up in 2 episodes and we're on to the next Sentai, but I'm excited. I mean, I'll definitely be watching it week to week, and I can't wait to see what the show is going to bring.
Yeah, my entire thing when it comes to this season is like I am very optimistic with it. Once again, my biggest concerns is just production staff. We've got kind of like some very green production staff in there, and what we normally see with people at the helm here is that they kind of shoot their creative load early, and then after that, they don't know what to do next. So that's the only reason why I have some concerns is literally from a production standpoint is this is proving grounds for the head writer, mostly just because he's only been a background assistant to Yuya Takahashi, who does Deets and did 01 before that and X8 before that. All of his previous works have been something tied into his works. This is his first time as actual head writer towards one of these seasons. And although it is, creatively different from what we had before, because once again, Shida P's 5-year plan has gone to shit, and they decided to just end that 5-year plan and start with something like this. So, we've got some proving grounds. I'm going in optimistic to see how it's going to go, but I have that Takahashi vibe where I'm just like feeling like you might just blow your load too soon, and then you're going to be floundering towards the middle. And I don't want this to just start becoming a very back to basic Sentai where it is just a Monster of the Week's formula with just cool suits and things like that, and doesn't like overstay its welcome when it comes to that, where people are just creatively bored and they start tuning out during like some of the fight scenes or anything like that. You got to be able to hold the attention of your viewers, whether or not it is by being overtly comedic or being overtly exaggerated or actually having an interesting plot or character narrative. You've got to have all those different dynamics in there to keep people, you know, entertained in terms of that aspect. So that's why I'm a little bit, you know, cautious, but I'm still liking what I'm seeing so far from the cast, the visuals that we have on there, and just the amount of money that it looks like they're pouring into this has me a little concerned as well, just because I'm just like, them toy sales and y'all putting this much in there, this better be like y'all's like saving grace, because as someone that knows like business, you want to make sure that the money you're pouring into this is paid off in, you know, how much revenue
You want
you're
that return
generating
on investment.
because it's just like, ooh, go ahead.
How did what happened to the 5-year plan? Because you brought it up a few times. I don't really pay too much attention to the behind the scenes. Did something happen with it, or?
Yeah, so essentially, Shida P, who was the previous like head producer for the Sentai series, he had a 5-year plan going from Zenkaiger all the way to the 50th. So essentially, he wanted to make sure that each of the seasons had some sort of correlation to each other and have some sort of anniversary aspect to be paid off in a splendid fashion and during the 50th. However, because of the toy aspect of things, and I kind of think that Toei kind of decided a little bit too soon to put an end to that 5-year plan, because Dom Brothers actually, with last week's numbers, kind of proved that it's starting to reverse the trend of Sentai toy sales. And not only that, but also when it comes to viewership, because their viewership is at an all-time high now. Like, it's getting much higher than it has been in several years. But because they make these decisions when the show is halfway through, which, no, if you know anything about the toy sales when it comes to like Dom Brothers and things like that, Down Oni Taijin did not debut like in the beginning. Normally you have your mechs on deck before the season even goes to air, like you're seeing with KingOhger. Down Oni Taijin came out during the second quarter of Dom Brothers. And even then, it sold out initially, like completely sold out on the initial like release, to the point that they were trying to keep up with supply and demand. Now, of course, you can get one, but it's proven that the show actually ended up helping the franchise in the long run. But Toei makes these decisions early, so they kind of like got to the halfway point of Down Bros, did not see the return on investment, did not see that upward trend that they were hoping to see, and just said, you're out. We don't need another season that's going to continue a downward trend. And that's normally when they start the pre-production towards, you know, a season like KingOhger, when they start developing the suits and stuff like that, and see if the same production staff that was working on it previously will continue like working on it, or if they're going to, you know, go scorched earth, in which case they went scorched earth.
Yeah.
So that is the behind the scenes thing regarding why KingOhger is not going to have a single vibe of the previous shows. I'm sadly not going to get my Black Taro. I'm not going
to say Kaito Silver.
Kaito Silver? Oh my god.
Now we're not going to get a continuation of Kaito showing up, or, you know, the passing of the torch to having like, you know, just Taro show up out of nowhere, you know, running his delivery service, and everybody just operates from his delivery service. None of that's going to be a thing anymore, because like that intermingling between these worlds is now kind of over with that. So we'll see how they end up doing the 50th now. Yeah. Because it's clear like their initial plans from the outset are no longer the plans that they have now. So it's going to be a whole different ball game.
Zio, quick question for you, if it's okay.
Yep.
I've been noticing a lot of little comments in the chat about like, if you don't like the first episode, and fears of like you either dropping it or not watching it if you really find it unappealing. So I was just wondering if you could just like, would you like to tell them how you typically go about these kinds of things?
So when it comes to Sentai reviews, and if you look back at my Down Brothers review, I reviewed the first episode, held off for a few weeks. I waited until the next 5 episodes aired, And then I did a pretty much fast-paced what I like, what I don't like about the season, and how I hope it will change from there. Because if you see, like I gave, I think it was like 10 things I like and 10 things I dislike about Down Brothers up to that point. And they ended up role reversing a lot of the things. Of course, some things ended up sticking, like the bad CG, but after a while, you kind of like tune it out. But other things ended up completely, vastly blowing up my mind. Honestly, Down Brothers was a season that I was almost ready to quit. I was, just because it's like, from a design aesthetic, it did not catch my attention. The only thing that had me clinging on to it was that head writer. That was it. That was the only thing that had me clinging on to Down Brothers in the initial outing. And that theme song, because it was catchy. But I can like a theme song and dislike a season. KingOhgers, I'm talking to you. But yeah, it's like that can completely end up being a thing. So for KingOhger, I will review the first episode. And just note, you're not going to get a review for like 2, 3, 4, or 5 until those episodes have aired. I collect my thoughts and decide on how I'm feeling about the show. Now, I will end up reviewing the entire series, regardless of how I feel about it, because, you know, even if it ends up being a hate watch scenario, hey, that's a change in terms of the aspect, because I know there are some reviewers out there that just stay overtly positive about things. I like giving my real opinions when it comes to a lot of these shows. And even though like early on in my review life on YouTube, I was told, if you don't have anything positive to say at all, why review it? Because I feel real opinions matter. You don't want to live in an echo chamber. So
I would say, I just don't go out of my way to watch something I don't like just to make negative content on it. But I get that, like, where it's like, you're gonna watch it and not, if you don't like it, it's like there's always elements of a show you're gonna like.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, you know, like, I mean,
yeah, and even then I'm not gonna completely hate watch it. It would be one of those of just like, I'm currently disinterested. Let's see if you can win me back as a viewer.
Exactly.
Like, I'll keep watching you and see if I can find the saving grace in this season.
True.
Exactly. That's because I've given up watching a lot of stuff and I'm like, I'm not enjoying this at all. I don't even want to review it. When it's one of the things where you're not looking forward to actually watching something, that's when I'm like, all right, pull the plug, not talking about it.
Gotcha. I'm just afraid that you've been eating too good with Don Bros that you may not like.
Look, I am eating. Look, it was unexpectedly like eating too good. It's like ordering like, you know, a meal at Wendy's, but getting a filet mignon and going like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
I didn't order this. I only paid $3.50.
Yeah, which is why I hope you're going to be okay if you get like a fucking Baconator in your mouth after this.
Just all the meat in my mouth. Let's go. Let's just go ahead and go for it.
As somebody who went out for a steak dinner last night with a wife, I couldn't imagine having a Baconator instead.
Oh, you're making me jealous.
You should be.
All right, so moving on to the next topic, and I'll let Mark speak to these numbers at first. We've got the Hasbro sales numbers.
I give you the link. I don't have.
I got it up. I got it up.
Good. I was like, I don't even have it up on mine.
Oh my! Now you're the one. Okay, I was about to say now you're the one that's frozen for me, but you're good now.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is okay. We have to explain a lot of things here of how IPs and Hasbro works. This isn't just toy sale. You have to take into everything, all the IPs they own from a show standpoint, licensing rights, this and that. They're losing money, okay? Like, I'm not even gonna show. I can't sugarcoat. They're hurting a bit, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look, even the foreign exchange, like, we're not gonna talk about that stuff. But like, the main thing about this, because it's not broken down fully to see the Power Ranger stuff, is I don't know how to word this because I don't want to make it really boring. Okay, yeah, there we go. Performances, there we go. We got their partner brands. We got the Hasbro Gaming, which, you know, isn't just, you know, board games. They don't break it down. Magic. I didn't even fully read down there. So I'm like, oh, they talk about Magic the Gathering, but let's face it, we're not going to talk about that either. TV and entertainment. There we go. Look at that. Look at those numbers. Those are trash.
Oh my God.
Down 17%. Now, Hasbro is claiming, because the main thing, Power Rangers, that's the main thing we're going to talk about. I'm not going to talk about G.I. Joe and stuff like that. They are claiming, you know, lost assets from the standpoint of like canceled projects or projects that were started that aren't finished. once in the future. That was already in the pre-planning. But they're also saying their change from putting Dino Fury to Netflix also had an effect. And we've talked about this in VC chat and on Discord. Netflix gives you money up front to buy these things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
They
I
got paid.
don't. Chest of Greatness. The reason why I'm not talking about G.I. Joes because I got to go on a whole tangent on the fact that their figures are so amazing and I'm not buying them. And if I did, all this stuff behind me would be removed because there's so many and they're great. It's just so I don't know where they're how much. I don't know what other projects they have that they've canceled because we knew they had that young adult Power Ranger show in the works that was supposed to be original.
It's still in the works.
Yes, and I don't know if they wrote off all the pre-production stuff that they were doing with it as a like as losses because they don't break everything down enough. But playing off of when we talked about toys and the Lightning collection stuff, I'm not shocked they're losing money right now. And with the PulseCon stuff coming up, they even said they're hopeful it's going to be on an upswing because, yeah, they had a young adult. Is not young adult as empowered. Young adult as the genre, as the medium form. Like young adult would be like Riverdale, Stranger Things. Technically, The Flash is considered young adult.
Yeah.
As a genre standpoint, they are working on original Power Rangers. That's not.
So the funny thing is, looking at this, the reason why it looks like the Power Rangers franchise in itself does not look to have lost as much money as people are thinking. If you read the fine print, it's because they wrote off a lot of it.
Yeah, the shows and stuff they were producing.
They wrote off $13.1 million due to Power Rangers because of it. Which, if anything about the financials on things like that, that's how you make it seem like it's not as bad as it looks like. But you're still a lost leader when it comes to that. So the thing is, it's like, was Hasbro buying Power Rangers ultimately like a bad move on their part? What do you think is causing this downward trend? It attributed to things like Power Rangers on their aspect, because of course, like Transformers is still gonna sell in terms of that, but they've invested so much when it comes to Power Rangers as a brand in itself, because I see so much of their toys when I go to like a Walmart or Target or something like that. But ultimately, I'm not interested in buying any of these toys whatsoever because they don't look that appealing in terms of that aspect. So, Mark, yeah, what do you think? Like,
it's tough to pinpoint one specific thing about Power Rangers, what is hurting them. Like, the prime example of how they're writing things off as losses, just a quick sentence. Warner Brothers with Batgirl. They canceled the film. They got to write it off. That's how it works. That's how it works, sadly.
Yep.
Power Rangers, like, they were releasing merch for Dino Fury during season 2 that should have been out in season 1. The Green and Black Ranger were only exclusive to a 5-pack available on Amazon.
Chest of Greatness, get out. No Bayformers. I'm done.
Listen, it's not. It's a new team, and Hasbro's gonna be making money when that film comes out and they release the film toys. Okay, the film toys are gonna sell because we're gonna get new versions of the
Beast Wars.
The Beast Wars. Yeah, that's gonna sell. I don't know their licensing and how their percentage works with Power Rangers for the comic book standpoint. Ash might know a little bit more on that than I do. I just read the comics. I don't look at the business side of it.
I'm not very business heavy that well.
Yeah,
but
they don't talk about it. I don't know how Boom, if they're giving Hasbro a cut, but the Lightning collection, finally the QC stuff is coming to light. A lot of people are not happy with it. They released barely any Dino Fury stuff.
They had a big layoff at Hasbro where several people got fired.
A lot of Power Ranger related people too, who do their live streams, and one of the people who does some of the moldings and the designing for the actual figures.
They got let go.
Yeah, so they're letting go a lot of people, but in the same time, they're saying things like, "Oh, we care about this IP. This IP is very important to us. This is a prominent IP that we own," but they're losing money because they're not putting that care into it. I don't remember a time where Bandai was losing money with Power Rangers.
True.
They probably were towards the end, but like, I mean, Bandai was making a lot of money. I'm just saying right now, there's no one way to pinpoint it. I think obviously with the 30th anniversary coming up, they're going to be milking that. They're going to make some money from that. But once Cosmic Fury comes out, once in future, and then they work on this young adult original Power Ranger thing, that's where you're going to see if they're making money or not. Because as of right now, if they don't cancel anything, they have nothing to write off in Q1 or Q2 of 2023. That's what we're going to see if they make a profit or not. Of course, the asterisk.
Hey, Mark, how much Hasbro stock are you going to buy now that it's slumping?
Okay. Fun fact.
Oh my god! Oh.
Anytime companies go through the motions and their stock drops to a single digit, I buy stock. I have stock in WE. I bought it with a $7, and then it jumped up to 80 and 90. I have stock in GameStop before the pandemic when it dropped down to like 3 or 4 when it was pretty low. IDW Comics, their stock has been under $2. I'm not saying I'm trying to be majority shareholder of IDW Comics, but I want to be majority shareholder of that company. Now Hasbro, I am following because it has not hit my
No,
yet.
it's still high. I actually went through my own stocks and looked at it. It's currently sitting at about $59.37 per share. The lowest it's been.
I'm buying in.
The lowest has been like $54.79, and that was like back in like December.
Not low enough yet.
Let's see. Zygarde says the GIF at the bottom of the screen is unsettling. Hopefully, this will fix it. Oh, he's talking about Cloudy.
I appreciate that comment.
Got him.
Thanks.
But yeah, once that stock is below 30, mid 20s, low 20s, I'm gonna be a shark like blood in the water. And
I'm investing as well. If that thing ends up dropping, so
damn.
Once again, we're not financial consultants. I have to say that anytime talking about stocks, like it has to be said, we're not financial we're not financial advisors. Do not take stock advice from any of us regarding any of this.
I'm just a jerk with money who likes to own stock in companies that I kind of love to hate.
So I do just have to specify any and all of that. Cloudy, anything you've got to add when it comes to like the financial aspects when it comes to Hasbro?
Not much, because obviously there's a lot of like ways they make money off the Power Rangers IP, so you can't really tell what is causing them to not make money, at least not all at once. But I don't know if maybe their move to Netflix wasn't the best of help, because the thing with that is like with Power Rangers on television, you got kids before school bored just watching Power Rangers. Maybe they start liking it. They talk to their parents about buying these toys, obviously, because they're seeing these superheroes on TV. Because like that's how I got that. That's what I did. That's what I did as a kid. But like now that it's on Netflix, people actually have to go out of their way to watch it. No, not that Netflix is out of the way, but like most people aren't just like popping up Netflix looking up Power Rangers, on the day. There's other things on there that probably has a lot of people's interest. So I feel like when they put Power Rangers on Netflix, it tends to like go for the demographic that's already out there to watch Power Rangers, which is like nearly our generation, like the older, later 20s, mid 30s, early 30s kind of generation who likes to watch that stuff. And I don't think that generation is big enough or spending enough money on these toys or whatever they need to like fuel like the sales that they need to hit. Like I feel like they really should have probably thought about the other consequences of putting all this on Netflix, because it also switches like a show that would release every week to now a binge show that you could just binge and instantly there's no draw, there's no attraction to like any potential hypes or a new toy will reveal next. Exactly.
Yeah. Yep.
And now they're put themselves in a position where like, oh my god, everyone's just watching the show, and then after a week, no one gives a fuck. No one cares about it. No one's gonna care about buying some other merch.
They're dropping the binge model at Netflix as a whole, by the way.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, not just Power Rangers in general. Like sub shows are still getting that, but they are trying to slowly wean people off the binge and starting to put more stuff up where it's like, oh, new episode next week. This is something they've been.
Maybe now Cobra Kai will finally get the love it deserves.
love Cobra Kai, so I'm really hoping I'm rooting.
Yeah. Yes.
But the last thing is that, like, I was just thinking that because, like, they're putting out a 30, sorry, not 30-year, but an anniversary event for like the original MMPR.
Yep.
No child
future.
has watched MMPR at this point. I'm just gonna say,
No.
child is gonna
That's
watch
for
that
us.
event. No one's gonna like buy those toys. That's for us. And I'm not saying that we're not like a large portion of that audience, but whenever you start to like forget like where your audience originally came from, or like trying to get the younger audience, which this is a younger franchise, you know, you're not going to get any more of us than there already is unless you're going to appeal to children. You're not going to get more sales. At least that's what I think. But again, that's just what I think. That's not.
Well, the point that you're stating is one that like I've been making on VC like this entire week when it comes to things, and it's like unlike something like the Toku shows that we watch, like your Sentai and Kamen Rider, they don't really have a change of production staff when it comes to Power Rangers. It's pretty much been the same group that they've had
in New Zealand,
for over I think like 15 years now. And one thing from an outsider's perspective, I'm just like, Power Rangers feels like a show that tries taking itself too seriously. And as someone that watches something like a Kamen Rider or Super Sentai, you see that the changes in each season, they don't have to take themselves seriously. Sometimes they will change a season and be goofy, not take itself seriously and things like that. And that adds some added flavor to get in there. And with Power Rangers, they've managed to take, goofy seasons, make them serious when they adapt them over, just because they feel like that's what American like kids or like Western audiences want, is a show that takes itself seriously. This is a show for kids. Sometimes being goofy might be the way to go. Why not change your production staff somewhat, make a season that actually doesn't take itself seriously and actually is just there to have lighthearted fun and things like that. And maybe that might like you're already losing money. Why not just take the gamble and see if it pays off? Because it might just be the heel turn that Power Rangers needs, is just changing the dynamic of the show to be something like, say, from a Teen Titans to a Teen Titans Go situation. Even though I don't care about like Teen Titans Go, I know that Teen Titans Go makes buku dinero for Cartoon Network. Like sometimes you gotta change it up.
You got to make it a little more kid friendly because it's a kid show. Also, Graf, I'm watching you. Say one more thing about Cobra Kai. Say one more thing.
Yeah, and he'll unleash his VTuber on you.
Exactly. Don't make me get the other ones.
Chop animation in there.
But exactly. No, I have
also. Hasbro's definitely going to be like you said. Kids aren't going to watch what's in future, which is the 30th anniversary. That's not for the kids. That is for us.
Yeah,
that is for.
And we sadly only get 30 minutes of it.
No, it's 55 minutes.
55.
Is it?
Oh,
yeah.
55. 55
an
minutes.
actual movie.
Yeah,
sort of.
55
movie.
minutes. Yeah.
Well, okay, it's over 45 qualifies as movie nowadays.
It's an indie film. It's an indie film, but so
it's longer than a
this
Sentai
is going to start the Hasbro money printing trend because in 3 years, what's MMPR's past its, because it was 3 seasons. We're going to go into the other seasons and it's going to start being 30th anniversary, 30th anniversary, 30th anniversary over and over again for all these shows. So long term, Hasbro's going to make money because they're going to capitalize. I mean, I don't know about Turbo getting a 30th anniversary in 3.5 years, if that's going to really get them any money, but
brought to you by Domino's Pizza.
Yes, but
TJ's going to be baked into a pizza again. It's going to be amazing.
It's going to taste delicious.
But that's the thing. Like, as long as they're having the original content, because I am curious post Cosmic Fury, them going original, because now they have the opportunity now to really show if they care about this IP and this brand, is how they treat it when they don't have to adapt something.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's face it, they could say all day that they care about the brand, this and that, but they haven't been consistent with toy releases in a timely manner. We only got 5 Zords total released from Dino Fury, and those didn't even come out till almost season 2. We didn't get everybody. They're still releasing Dino Fury stuff right now. I saw new stuff in Target and Walmart, and I was like,
oh my God,
the show's over. Like, what the hell?
I think that's another issue with binge models, is like they don't have the supply during the actual air. If they were actually running the shows like weekly, then of course the releases would make sense. But when they're going like binge model, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I pointed that out. The black and green Dino Furies, you had to buy the 5-pack. which came with the other 3, which are only $8 figures at Target and Walmart. And if you already, and those
they're
came
on
out
Amazon
when the show
exclusive.
premiered, they had them released already.
Yeah.
Those were the first 3 figures they released. Like
Donald Fury. I don't know if this was a mistype, but Donald Fury Green.
was.
Donald Fury.
There's 2 ways this can go,
Oh
depending
my
on what
God.
Donald you're talking about. I was gonna go for the safe way in Donald Duck.
Okay, good.
Oh
But
my
I got
God.
great Zords. Great
Masterful typo. It's so great. Oh my God.
But
No, so yeah, that's the whole thing when it comes to that. Like Ash, do you think that they should change up something when it comes to the production of this show to like possibly boost up their toy sales?
Oh yeah, they got to go weekly, and they need more toys to come out because with the basic figures, there's only so little. I mean, there was only like 4 in a wave, and some of those ones that are coming out are like re-releases in the new packaging, and they're not that interesting. I mean, you have your rangers, you have your villains. Like, I feel like they need to make figures of the original characters that they introduced into like Beast Morphers and Dino Fury and stuff like that. I mean, I talked to Campbell Cooley and he says, like, I'm surprised we never got a Scrozzle figure because that's an original character that Hasbro and Power Rangers came up with. We never got it. But then again, there's like not many toys. I feel like there was a fair bit of Beast Morpher toys during that run because that was on TV. Dino Fury, not so much. Like,
the Power Ranger section was dominated with Lightning Collection and like 1 or 2 packs for Dino Fury. It's the point where the Zords were on the lowest shelf. That in like pushed back and they were
it completely is like that.
They were next to the McFarlane Toys DC stuff, which I'm sorry, you see some of those McFarlane Toys DC like open front face figures, and you look at the Hasbro Power Ranger ones, and they're always next to each other in Target, and it's like, I'm sorry, I can look over here. This looks like they had the maskless Batman from Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, that looked like Ben Affleck, and I'm looking over next to it, and I see like in space yellow Lightning Collection. I'm like, that doesn't even look like a person.
Oh my God.
Their whole 3D head modeling thing has just been completely missed. Like none of it looks good.
Some of them look good, like the Dino Fury cast, because apparently they had all their heads scanned when they did the show. Yeah. But anyone else, like past Mighty Morphin or isn't Johnny Young Bosch, who's like immortal, those head sculpts aren't always the best.
True.
And to piggyback off what Ash said about the original characters, anyone who reads the comic books, we've all been clamoring and
Omega
wishing
Rangers.
Hasbro would give us anything from the comic, because not only would someone see those figures and be like, oh, there's these Omega Rangers. What's that from? Oh, it says from the comic book.
Lord Draken's all you're getting. That's all you're getting.
No, we got Ranger Slayer. We got Ranger Slayer.
Oh yeah, that's true. In terms of the statue and the helmets, that's really
and Turtle Rangers, if that counts.
Turtle Rangers, really?
Yeah, that counts. But then again, they did Cobra Kai also, and they put turtles with Stranger Things. So I mean, they put turtles with everything. But my thing is, like, you see Omega Ranger Red. Say Zero, you don't read the comics. You see that figure on the wall, like, what is this? That looks cool. I like this design. What is this from? And it says from the Booms Studio comic book. Now you're like, this looks cool. I wonder what this character's about. Let me go buy the comic. Then you're reading the comic and you see Omega Yellow, Omega Black. You see the Grave Zord and this and that. And then you're like, I wish these had toys and figures too. That would be great. And the next, there's so much missed opportunities in just, I'm going to say it. This is my opinion, not a fact. Ignorance on the PR and marketing department of Hasbro to not see where they could be making money.
Mm-hmm. And piggybacking off of that, just thinking about it, there was a line of Transformers toys like 10, 15 years ago, I'm trying to remember, where when you bought them, they actually came with a mini comic as well to like introduce you into that character. So if they did do something like that, that did give you like a few panels from like the full comic just to get people enticed into it, that could definitely help in terms of trying to introduce people into this other medium of this content.
You want to laugh? Yeah. Guess who's doing that right now? DC with McFarlane Toys right now. Oh, you could buy a Flash figure and it has one of the Flashpoint comics with it, or Black Adam, Superman, Batman, and it has a mini, like a comic with it that's from the current run that they're like it's such a smart idea, and it's not even marked up. It's still the regular price of the figure. So now some kid's gonna get that. I like the Flash. Like my nephew loves the Flash. Doesn't watch cartoons, anything. He just likes the way the Flash looks, and he knows he runs fast. Get him the toy to comic, and he's like, the Flash is from a book. It's like, yes, he is. Here you go. Like, missed opportunity.
They can get away with that because just giving you a little bit of insight into some of these big box retailers. When it comes to the comics they sell, like if you ever go inside like a Walmart and they have a like the Pokemon card in the comic section that's like in the front of the store, that's something that they call pay for scan, meaning the store actually doesn't lose money on it, even if people steal it, because it's all revenue for them, meaning that it's actually the company, the distributor that takes the loss on it for it. And it's all just revenue for those retail chains. So that's why they can get away with actually selling a figure like that actually would not have a markup in its price. So it makes sense from that aspect when you know the retailer side of things, which I know full well.
I've
so
worked with a few retailers, both from a storefront standpoint and a corporate standpoint. But yeah, that's the thing. Like it doesn't hurt. And the fact that Hasbro, like, I always go back to like they're just quoting them where they say they care and want to put this love and attention and appreciation into the IP, and they're so adamant that's like been their sentence, their PR sentence all.
Their love and attention is selling me MMPR for like the 50th time, and I'm tired.
Like, it's true.
I want give me more Zeo. Give me a Zeo helmet, please. Like, can we just move past these seasons?
Give me Legacy Collection, like an actual Zeo crystal.
Re-release all of the morphers. I would buy so many of those morphers if they re-release them.
It was leaked today. We're getting a master morpher.
Yes, I was about to say that the master.
Don't care about that. That's new shit. Give me old stuff. Give me old stuff. Give me the Rangers in space. Give me the in space changer. God, give me the chronomorphers. Give me something.
Zia, I think you were right when you said it earlier, though. I think they just really don't care about their IP unless it's got MMPR stapled on it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I was on TokuTonic today, and there's another like MMPR Megazord that's getting released again. Yeah, no, I don't care.
How many times can you have that Zord?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie though, those Zap Megazords, because they're all to scale to each other. Like that Astro Megazord is gonna be amazing. Like even I'm like, I want to spend money on these.
And then Delta Megazord's coming eventually, from what I've heard.
Oh no, he's going to grab merch, or he's going to go light something.
When do you not want to spend money on something?
Lightning Collection, anything from Hasbro.
That is fair.
I had to leave for like a hot second because the last time I actually spent money on a Power Rangers Megazord, it was to get this guy because it was something different, just to get the Zeo Megazord. Dude, like this guy came out like 2 years ago, and I was like, "Ooh, he's big, he's articulated." I don't care that they don't combine. The fact that he's big and I can articulate it is all that I cared about when it came to this. Like this was the first time that I was like, "Yes, let me spend money on some Power Rangers shit." Was this guy do more of this with all the other Megazords? Shit, I will definitely throw my money at you, Hasbro. Like, do that. I don't care about these mini size. Like, sometimes bigger is better. Like, give me these girthier mechs. Like, I will take it all. Take it all.
Girthy mechs, okay.
Girthy.
There it is.
Heard it first.
I want a lot of Time Ranger stuff, Time Force stuff that they... Sorry, recently watched Time Ranger, so it's fresh in my mind. A lot of Time Force stuff because it's like one of my favorite seasons as a kid because, like I said, I watched that shit all the time before going to school. That was my jam. So it's like... The fact that I feel like I can't get like the stuff I personally grew up with first because I didn't watch MMPR first is kind of annoying because there's definitely other fans that didn't watch MMPR who want other things that aren't MMPR. But the fact that they constantly get MMPR shoved down their throat makes them really think that they don't care because hey, if a new toy or a new line is coming out, guess what they're gonna do first? MMPR.
But here's the thing too. You have to like, and I understand it from Hasbro's standpoint, even if I hate what they're doing, because I've been going to conventions and working conventions since 2007. Anytime I've seen any of the actors from MMPR there, they always have the longest lines. Everyone wants to meet them. They're popular. I get it, and I get why Hasbro will keep funneling through because realistically, the more of the modern seasons that aren't their actors in their merch is not selling like it was. They're still stuck in the time frame of, remember in 93 when the Power Ranger toys came out and it boomed and everyone lost their shit. That's what it's gonna be like when we buy Power Rangers. We're gonna release MMPR stuff 3 times a year and it's gonna fly off the shelves. And sadly, it does still. But everything else they're doing isn't selling because they're not doing anything to market it. MMPR will always market itself. You don't need to spend any money on marketing for it. The other stuff they release, they aren't doing any marketing for it. Because like, oh well, people bought all the MMPR stuff real quick. Oh man, let's put out some in space stuff. Everyone loves in space, but we're not going to tell anybody.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Fang Joker, real quick, is it cheaper to buy through a proxy in Japan? It depends on shipping and location, because really that's the big thing. It's like, even though the like, say like the Amazon Japan listing may be stupid cheap, depending on what you're going through, that shipping might get you. You might end up paying the same price as what you paid for the unit itself, or sometimes even more than that, just from just international shipping rates.
And it depends on what coast you live on too.
Yep. Coast, country, anything. Like the closer you are to Japan, the better, probably.
Southern California,
Europe,
I get it in 4 days, and it's dirt cheap.
Sorry, Europeans, you're doomed.
Yeah, no, that's the worst. But yeah, it just depends on where you are. And proxies, I mean, it also depends on what you're buying too.
Yeah.
Not everything,
Yep.
you know.
Oh, Mark, can I tell you my secret shame about buying toys specifically?
You have a shame towards buying toys? Why?
Am I supposed to shame you for it, or what do you mean?
I specifically bought one toy that I completely regret because I took it out of the box and it immediately broke. Like very cheaply. I got okay, so Shadow Ranger Decamaster, because I was about to say Decamaster. Got it because I saw it. I love the figure. I love that form, and I loved its debut when I first saw it in SPD. And I got it in the Lightning collection. I got it. I had all the effects with it. It was great. I wanted to take it out of the box so I could pose it. I was going to put it on my wall and everything. Broke in seconds. Like, I kid you not, getting it.
You bought it from Hasbro.
See, that's what I mean. Like, I'm just telling you.
I have never opened any.
Yeah,
that's why I sold all my ones. That's why I sold all mine except for the 2 I got signed. I kept them and I was like, I'm selling all these. I'm not opening them. I'm not going to do like new or out of box. I know if I open this, it's either going to have 2 right hands, it's going to fall apart, or the back side of it is not going to be painted at all. Exactly. Those are the 3 QC issues.
For those of you who don't know, Mark will never shame anyone for buying anything Toku merch related, except like the collection or anything from Hasbro.
Dude, not anything, because I bought some Transformer stuff. They did the re-releases of Beast Wars in the OG packaging. I bought those. Not opening them, so probably fall apart.
I bought those. They're definitely up and transformed over there on my wall. So
how was the quality? Did they actually not fall apart? Because I'm scared.
No, they're actually really good. They actually hold up better than. So
they care about Transformers. I forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So the thing is, it's just like about 10 years ago, they did a re-release of the Transformers, the Beast Wars line with newer packaging and all that crap, and I bought those. Those suck. Those are terrible. I got a Rhinox right now that has to lean against the wall because the leg joints just don't stay in place. But these newer ones, definitely much better. These re-releases, because I guess it's the re-release of the 90s molds back when they actually gave a fuck. So
that's them at a wall and they're fine. Those things, no, that's the thing. Like, and it sucks for you, Cloudy, because that's a character you love.
Yeah, I know. And then
there's no other merch for it. That's the only thing you could get for it is that Lightning Collection figure, unless you go get that from Bandai in Japan, and it broke.
They don't care about SPD like that. Also, you best believe I got my money back,
as you should have.
All right, so moving on to our final topic of the night, and it's something that was really this is opening a can of worms, and I know pretty much a lot of folks may have their own opinions on this or their own side of things, but I want to talk about somewhat of the toxicity when it comes to the Toku community, especially right now, since we are going through a transition of one Sentai to the next. The amount of I long story short, I posted up this YouTube short of the cast of KingOhger, just vibing to their theme song. It's probably the first time that they heard it, and they were just sitting there bobbing their heads and all that stuff. And then I showed a comparison of how the Don brothers like reacted during their press conference. They were all like hyped up. They had their dance routine going on. That thing was extremely hyped, completely set the tone for me, like watching the press conference of like, oh, this is going to be one hell of a ride. That's all like Twitter could talk about once like the Don brothers press conference was over, was just that theme song and how hyped they were. And then KingOhger, everybody was just talking about Purple. But they're not even talking. Most people, even when I posted that up, they were like, we haven't even heard the theme song. Yeah, it was in the press conference. And that's why I posted up that short so people can hear the slight snippet of it. But it became a bloodbath in my comment sections. Like all of the Don Bros haters came out of the woodworks and the KingOhger White Knights started showing up. There were some people even going like, yeah, I feel like you won't be the proper person to review KingOhger because you can't let go of Don Bros. It's just like, wow, the amount of vitriol that is suddenly coming out from all of this. I'm like, first of all, you probably don't even know my style. I give everything a fair shake. Second of all, I've been watching Sentai for probably longer than you've been alive. And another thing is just really like, you look, all these shows are going to be different. And the vibe from season to season is going to be different. But the way that they handled this press conference in terms of showcasing off the theme song, it could have been done better. And I gave an example of the Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger press conference where they actually had the singers just come out and sing their intros. That alone sets a whole different vibe than just playing the theme song in the background and just having the actors just sit there like, yeah, this is a song, all right. This is definitely a song. And my biggest argument point when it came to that was that because people would say, well, they're royals. Maybe they were told not to act bombastic or anything like that. Yeah, but if you looked at the actual trailer that played in the beginning of the press conference, the way that they acted listening to that song, or at least like KingOhger should have been massively vibing, because the vibe that they gave off listening to that theme versus what we saw during their trailer, complete 180 in terms of personality trait. But yeah, that kind of like opened up a whole can of worms of folks just shitting on Don Bros, loving everything that there is about KingOhger because the vibe's a complete different take than Don Brothers. But it kind of like just opened up a whole different side of the community that honestly, like, I forgot existed. Well, you know, the previous week there was some issues on Twitter, but there's
just a bit. I was wondering where you were going with this. I'm like, we talk about that, or are we talking about this?
I mean, we can kind of talk about that if people want, but otherwise, in terms of the community as a whole, like, how do you feel in terms of toxicity that you see within, like, say, different forums, social media, or even your own comment section? And Ash, you've been in the game longer than us. Like, have you seen any of this, and what's your take when it comes to all that?
Well, if it comes to Toku, like, Power Rangers is always going to be a mixed bag because everyone's going to either love this. Like, the biggest thing, like, in 2020 and 2021 was Q-Ranger or Luperpat not getting adapted because Simon Bennett said it'd be too much. Well, Q-Ranger, he said too many Rangers. Lupat, he said, due to the current climate of what's going on, he said it wouldn't be, like, the perfect timing for it. But when I posted, like, a community post when the Don brothers had, like, 8 episodes to film, I got a couple of people coming out saying, fuck this show, I'm glad it's over.
Damn.
Because, like, nothing happened. Like, they said nothing was going on with the show, like, when it came to plot. They said, like, too gag heavy, not enough seriousness.
Huh. And I'm like, are we watching the same show?
Yeah.
Are we really like, if you just care about an A to B, like, plot line, like, you can watch any of the previous Sentais. If you want something that's an actual character-driven drama and you're actually seeing the evolution of these individual characters, that's why Don Brothers exists. Like, it proves that you don't need to be cookie cutter in terms of your plot synopsis to actually tell a really engaging story and just get me invested in these characters. Because once again, the biggest thing about Don Bros that shocked me was the fact that it really is a character study into all these individuals. And when, like, you start, like, getting these individual storylines for these characters to the point that when something actually snaps, like, for the longest time we were like, oh yeah, they gotta like attribute this whole Natsumi Miho situation like early on, right? No, they played it out way longer than I thought they
I
ever
know.
did. To the point that when we
Great.
finally got the big reveal, that thing went full psychotic and was just a great moment in itself. Like the snapping, and you could feel it.
Mhm.
And Yoshi's character just completely like losing it. Was just
Or
like
even-
that's why it's a good thing. It's a good thing to build up these characters just to have that massive payoff. But you can go ahead.
or even the build up for Inuzuka to finally join the team and do that roll call. Like when we got it, it was a really great moment because we knew it would come eventually. Like I thought it would come earlier on in the show, but they saved it for like towards the end game. But when we got it, it was a pretty good moment as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. It was like some of the most unexpected things happened in that show. Like every time Zio had a prediction of that show, it was either proven wrong or in the completely wrong context, he was correct.
Mm.
And it was honestly really great because it gave us a lot of stuff I didn't know I wanted. And I feel like that's the thing a show does. A really memorable show will do really well. It'll give you something you didn't expect, you didn't know you needed, but you absolutely need it. Because like I couldn't imagine anything different happening in the plot at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing about it, I'm just like, there's a lot of people that hate on something that don't watch said program.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, look, I can understand it. The show's not for you. There's no need to properly hate on it. I honestly would be that guy that would go out of my way to actually watch something to its entirety, to actually give reasons why I dislike something or not, versus just outright dislike it without watching it. Because it's like, I don't outright hate Saber. I honestly just couldn't muscle through it. So I'm not going to speak to why I dislike it. I just say, like, I couldn't finish it. It wasn't the show for me. Like, I'm not going to completely, like, crap on it just because I couldn't get into it. But then there's others that speak like they know what Dom Brothers is. And they're glad that it's ending because KingOhger is for serious people, like serious them. And, you know, it's for big kids versus what Dom Bros has offered up, which if you... Like, look, my jokes for Dom Bros tend to be so jokey and innuendo-ish, and that's because Inoue gives it to me. Like he puts those innuendos there, and I'm just saying them aloud.
You're
Like
just
there's
a conduit for him.
There's so many moments in which I'm just like, there's some portions of my reviews that I had to cut out because I'm just like, Inoue, this is a show for children. Why are you doing this? Why are you alluding to things like this? And it's just like, if you know type situation, because this is, of course, a head writer that I've followed for a long time. He's massively crazy and willing to push the boundaries when it comes to a lot of things. The fact that this show is still aimed at kids, I'm just like, that's ridiculous. But that's it's hilarious in terms of that aspect. Mark, what are your 2 cents when it comes to like just some of the vitriol when it comes to like Dom Bros versus like KingOhger and things like that, even though I know you don't properly know.
I don't follow stuff, but I can attribute it's the same people because you brought up Saber. It was a long, almost a year for me doing reactions and reviews for Saber because I saw that side of Toku. And as someone who's on Twitter in the Toku stuff more than you are, I see this daily. And it's not just Don Brothers, it's literally like people will find a reason to just want to prove your opinion wrong when you're not speaking matter-of-factly of something. Like,
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
But didn't everyone either shit on Saber and then they came around to it and they acted like it was the greatest thing ever on Toku Twitter?
Basically.
Like, yeah.
Basically.
There was that
Recently, everyone's been, buying up the merch, talk about it. And I was like, okay, where are all these people when I was reviewing it every week that were tweeting to me being like, how are you still watching this? This is the worst season of Kamen Rider ever made. And then, of course, my reply is, how is that even possible when Gaim already came out years ago?
Oh, no.
Oh.
I knew where this was headed. I knew where this was
this
headed.
has been my thing for the last 2 years. And,
God.
and it was one of those things where it's like, listen, I will do some innocent trolling, which sometimes people can't tell. But, like, if you want to enjoy Toku, don't use Twitter.
It's true.
Don't read your comments most of the time and don't reply to most of them. Like, there's other stuff which we don't talk about that happened last week that I've tweeted about and I've been vocal in Discords about that shouldn't have happened. But the Don Brothers, like, it's the same thing with Saber. It's the same thing with Revice. It's the same thing with any shows, but more recently, Zen Kaiser, everyone's like, oh, the CG's bad. This is a horrible show. And then they're still talking negative, but they didn't get past episode 3.
Mm.
Dodd Brothers, I don't speak anything negative. I've seen your reviews. I haven't fully watched it. And it's one of those things where it's like, I can't speak negatively on it. I can only say after 6 episodes in, I couldn't binge it. I didn't say it was a bad show, but there are people who are still shitting on Don Brothers, and I see it on Twitter. And they're like, oh, finally, KingOhger, a good Sentai season. We've been fed crap for 2 years. And it's like, oh, did you finish KingOhger or Don Brothers? Oh, you didn't even watch it? You watched the presser and some trailers of what other people put clips out of context, and that's how you decided it was a crap show? That's why I don't speak negative. And like, you know, or if you like something, you're a fake fan. That's my favorite, because apparently I like Saber. I'm a fake fan. And I'm like, oh, yes, all this stuff behind me, this is all CG. Did you guys know I'm on a green screen? I've never seen Toku before.
That's a
Oh
pretty
my
good green
god,
screen.
that's an insane.
That looks better than my effects.
Dude, listen, I spent a lot of money on it. That's all the money I didn't spend on Toku. I put into this fake set behind me.
I'm gonna need that green screen. I'm just gonna say
Right.
I need that setup.
But that's the thing is like, there's also positive sides. There are people who combat the toxicity, and then there's people who combat it online, but have created their own version of a toxicity in the Toku community.
Mm.
The righteous toxicity, we're the good guys. So anyone who doesn't think like us, we're going to attack them because they're toxic, even though they're not. It's just a different opinion. Me and Zio do not agree on a lot of things when it comes to our Toku, and the same with Cloudy and Ash. I think we agree on everything because I've seen your Power Ranger videos, and for the conflict, honestly, like, you're a man of culture. You're a man of culture. So, you know, just
Brown nosing.
Oh,
Brown
no.
nosing.
Listen,
maximum.
he's doing the Lord's work. I don't have to.
No,
review the
Ash
comics.
is content
So
is great.
that's why I don't have to talk about the
It's true.
the
It's great.
graph. Masked Rider was great too. That's peak. Okay, that's still better than 90.
It's great. I watched it all on Twitch earlier in this year. Masked Rider is indeed it's great. It's great. Once you get past how bad it is, it's great.
Furbus.
It's amazing. It's
I haven't
amazing.
forgiven the person on
turn your
Twitter
brain
who
off.
bought the Furbus helmet while I was at work and couldn't buy it. Really bad about that. But like, Chest of Great, as even says, good toxic versus bad toxic. It's everywhere. And
Yeah, toxic is still toxic.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And the thing is, I really feel that it comes to what point in your life are you when it comes to this fandom? Because I feel like those who are just now getting into Toku, you're probably going through the stage of like getting into that Toku snobbish phase where it's just like, no, I like this because the tone is dramatically different than what I got with like Power Rangers. This show is for serious people like me, and I'm going to try and get everybody into this show type thing. To the point that when you see something kind of goofy, you're like, nah, this ain't it. This ain't it, or something like that. And then that level can kind of become a little bit offset by just getting into the arrogance of it, of like, well, now I've reached the point that I've seen like 20 plus shows, and I am the master guru of all of these shows. And anyone who has not watched as many shows as me is a weaker by that aspect, because I know it all. It's just like, no, look, at some point you got to turn it off. You got to realize people are at different stages of this. That kind of attitude did work in the early 2000s. I will admit it did work, because that's when the community started building internationally because of the internet. But now we've gotten to a point where, yeah, like I'm at the point of my life where I've gone through that phase. I've seen so much Toku over the course of like the last 20 years, to the point of like, yeah, I can see myself as being someone that's very seasoned in terms of like the community and seeing things like that. Am I going to shit on somebody for being new to this genre? Absolutely not. No, because it's like one of those like welcoming arms. Well, look, I can give you recommendations based on what you're interested in, but if you really want to join into the discussion, just watch the show that's currently airing so you can partake with everybody and be on the same page. So you don't have to worry about, you know, someone spoiling something ahead of it coming out and ruining things. And it's just like, really, a lot of times I'm that guy that's just like, the recommendation that I give a lot of folks for where to get into, you know, franchise A, watch the current airing show, just so you can participate into the conversation. Because if you watch an old show, chances are you might speak to the wrong person. They'll give you a spoiler and, you know, it might ruin some things. So it's like one of those those aspects. But there are some people that are still, maybe fairly younger that might have that attitude of being better than someone else just because they've seen a lot more shows than someone else and might question their credibility. No, don't attack someone with that attitude. They're just going through a phase. Like, when people grow up, they go through phases in life. This is just a passing phase. You don't have to like character assassinate somebody or drive them off a platform just because they have that kind of mindset. So it's really like there's no such thing as good and bad time. It's all bad. It's all bad. It doesn't matter if you try and paint it in a different light. It's like you might gaslight someone for gatekeeping, but then gatekeep them in the process. I'm sorry, that is complete irony in terms of that aspect. It's supposed to be a community of liking people in suits fighting bad guys. It's not supposed. This is not religion. This is not politics. This is not anything like that. It's a harmless show. So don't take the vitriol seriously.
That offends me. It's not a harmless show. Have you seen my bank account?
Oh
There's
my
nothing
God.
harmless about this. Nothing.
You don't blame the show for that. You blame the production companies.
I blame Toei and Bandai, not Hasbro, because I ain't getting my money. But
Oh, Mark, I owe you an apology, by the way.
ooh, okay, continue.
Well, you know about this. All right. So this is a long time coming.
Make it public.
I, for the longest time, have hated Saber. Absolutely hated Saber because I watched it week to week. I didn't. I didn't skip a single episode. I watched it every day, every week, and it was just the worst experience for me. Mark was like, "Oh, maybe you should try binging it. It might make the taste a little less sour." And I'm just like, no way. This is horrible. Absolute horrible. There was no changing my opinion on this because I already seen the show. And I'm like, how would watching this week to week change my mind? I did it because some of the other fans in the Discord wanted to watch Saber. And I was like, all right, I sat through this enough. There were things I did like about the show. And by the time I was in like episode 31, rewatching Saber to episode 32, I absolutely loved the show. It was actually really good. And yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like I don't understand it myself why it was so much better watching it the second time, like on the binge. I think maybe it's because the show's pacing did not fit the week to week format at all, but it felt good. Like it felt really well done. And I kind of felt bad because I was shitting on this show because I constantly was like, I just thought like this, people who like the show, clearly they didn't like good writing, but no, there's good stuff to like about these things. And it made me feel very regretful. So I do still owe Mark that apology. And I wanted to say sorry to that.
My child.
But
I could not get one more drop of that apology ingested in me. I am so full. My cup runneth over with your apology. But that's the thing too. Your taste will change. I did not like Kuga or Agito when I first saw them, and I got into Toku in 2003. I didn't like I rewatched them both Kuga when the Blu-ray came out, and Agito I watched it during the quarantine stay-at-home stuff. I like them a lot more now that I'm older. I can appreciate the storytelling and the pacing of these shows. Your tastes will always change as you get older, as you mature more, as you've ingested more forms of media and this and that and other genres. That's why I tell everyone, you might not like it now, but 3-4 years from now, the future, you might like this, or you might hate it and you like it now.
Yeah.
Like that's just how things are. Like not Toku related, Legend of Zelda, love Zelda, grew up on it, this and that. Couldn't get into modern Zelda stuff fully. Like it doesn't feel the same way. But Toku, same thing. I went back, I watched them, and I've gone back and rewatched other Toku that I thought I really liked, and then I'm not liking it as much. Like Drive and Build and Gaim. Like I didn't like them as much watching them now that I'm turning 37 years old. I didn't like them as much when I was younger, years ago. Yeah, no, it was more enjoyable. That's why I was like, even your opinion but your opinion's not a fact. And this is where the toxicity comes into play, where people are treating their opinion as fact or the gospel. This is it. My opinion. I am right. Everyone else around me is wrong about what they think about this because I've seen, multiple shows. Like when I was talking, hyping up Saber, when I was enjoying stuff, someone's like, "Oh, you must be new to Toku. Like, how many shows have you seen?" I'm like, "I've seen all of them except for 2." And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Yeah. The only ones I haven't finished are Faiz and Kabuto. Those are the only 2 I have not finished. I have seen every other season from start to finish." And
Mark,
he's like,
stop
"How could
talking
you?"
to me.
And he's like, "How have you seen all those?" Yeah, and he's like, "No, it wasn't you though. It was someone
I
on
know, I
YouTube
know.
and Twitter." And they were like, "How have you seen all those? Yet you can like Saber if you've seen all these better shows." And I'm like, "What do you mean?"
It's like they're all on an individual standpoint, and I feel that mob mentality can end up skewing the perception when it comes to that. Also, I got to add, Twilight Princess sucked. It's
I haven't
overly
talked
hyped
about that
Zelda
game.
game.
It's
overly hyped
from liking Zelda.
Twilight Princess was a failure of a
It
Zelda
was
game.
a great game, and I will not
Remember that
stand here
bridge?
for it.
It was just a trailer, and that was it. That was
It
the
was
only thing good about
fantastic.
Twilight
You
Princess.
did not
Twilight
get to the
Princess
later
sucked.
areas.
Twilight
was
Princess was
Crap.
ass.
You didn't get to the
Worst
later dungeons. I
game
swear.
I've ever
It's
played. I
great.
couldn't
No,
because when the
it's
bridge
not.
broke, it glitched my game when the bridge collapsed, so I couldn't get to later dungeons because it crashed and lost my save file. I will never
Got
finish
him.
that game.
I remember that glitch too. I remember all about that fucking glitch.
I bought a Wii for that game. I waited outside of Walmart for 17 hours.
Wind Waker and Skyward Sword were better than Twilight Princess.
Oh my god,
Suck
you're
on it.
killing me.
Suck
well,
on it.
True.
Suck on it.
Wind
These are all
Waker,
facts.
maybe. Not Skyward Sword. At least in my opinion.
But
I will
this
say
is
this,
bottom.
Zio. This is like last kind of. I just have like this general statement for you because it's kind of like something we did talk about VC before, but maybe I think you may be best for like maybe the public audience to like hear more about it. So we were having this discussion the other day, basically about like how a lot of Toku fans will have their opinions based on the opinion of their content creator and not actually watch the media itself that that they're having this opinion on. And it really does bother me because you have shows recently, like say for example, Black Sun. I did not enjoy the ending in certain parts of Black Sun because I honestly felt like they did the main character a disservice. They did a lot of the original Black a
Don't
disservice.
spoil anything because
I'm not gonna spoil
I
too
might
much.
finish it this year. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Maybe
I'm not
Nah,
gonna
you'll finish
spoil-
it in 2 years from now.
5 episodes in. It only took me 6 months.
Once they release it in 4K, you'll actually care.
Oh my god! But the thing about it
Still have
is,
to watch it.
it's like I don't care that people can have an opinion on something because that's fine because that's an opinion you've created for yourself because you've seen the media. But I really hate when people draw an opinion on something or don't watch something or don't like it or say they don't like it and they've never seen it because someone they've watched has told them something and now their opinion is permanently skewed on that point. And it is sad because there's a lot of stuff you could like that you would your content creator that you may enjoy dislike. For example, like Zio loves Fies. There's plenty of his fans that don't like Fies. Doesn't mean they can't interact or talk about stuff. You know what I mean? So it's like I wish people would draw their own opinions.
Fies gets a bad rep. It completely gets a bad rep.
Yeah, it kind of.
There's a bunch of people getting into Fies now only because they realize that the same head writer did Dombros and they like Dombros. And I tell everybody, it's just like if you like Dombros, Fies is just a serious Dombros. If you wanted Dombros to be serious, watch Fies. It's the same shit.
Fies just got a lot of money out of me this month because I got both the solo
fantastic.
sets and I got the premium Bandai stuff coming. Like Fies is good, and I didn't realize how many people disliked it.
And it's just one of those things where it's just like it's something that I feel like people have to learn for themselves to make their own opinions, and others can't. It's not that you shouldn't let others influence your opinion, but you shouldn't let others' opinions make something a matter of fact for you when you haven't experienced it yourself.
I will say, like, to that point, because I did want to get kind of into that as well, is since there's a lot more younger people in the community nowadays, and they don't know how to access this content like the rest of us do that are older and have been, known to like sail the high seas to be able to get these things.
In those days.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, it's just like nowadays they don't know how to get access to them. So they literally would watch, say, someone's specific video and then form their opinions just based off of that alone. And no, I come from the generation that back when I got into Kamen Rider, they were like, don't watch Agito because Agito is going to spoil everything for you because that show is peak. It is the greatest Kamen Rider season ever. And if you watch this, you're just going to compare every other Kamen Rider show
Blade
to this one.
I was going to say, that's why I say a Blade all the time to people.
What are you talking about Blade for?
No, because that's literally what they were talking about when it came to Agito. Back when I was like, back when Kabuto was like airing week to week, everybody was just like, because I was trying to backtrack on some shows, just like save Agito for last. Agito's like peak. It's the greatest ever. Like everything else is gonna seem like trash or trying to redo that formula. And I'm just like, okay. But then I ended up watching it, ended up still really enjoying it, even though it was overhyped to hell and back, and ended up becoming a big fan of it. But now, because of, you know, someone's opinion on the show, everyone hates Agito. And I'm just like, that's a massive 180 to literally 13 years ago when everybody was just still like hyping up the hell out of that show. A lot of the Heisei Phase 1 shows now get completely shat on because of the opinions of some of the newer content creators that are on there. So it's like all of that shit. So Ash is someone that's also been part of the community for a while and looking at this from like a different lens. What do you got to say in terms of people's opinions changing and how this community just has devolved in a sense?
Oh, that was a tough one. Like, it's been a good conversation. Just don't let people's opinions dictate what you watch. I mean, go into it if you want to go into it. Maybe avoid, like, not fully avoid other people's opinions, but don't let everyone's, like, if someone doesn't like a season of something, then don't let that opinion dictate what you want to watch or what you're going to enjoy. Because there might be something from that season that you personally speak to or enjoy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is, like, really just watch these shows yourself, form a proper opinion, and don't let someone talk you out of a show just because they didn't enjoy it. Literally, just give it your own fair shake. And I would say definitely if you're going to get into a lot of these shows, don't go to the writer wiki ahead of time. Don't look at any of that, that shit.
No, please.
You're gonna spoil
do that.
everything.
Don't do that.
You're
The
doing
best
yourself a
place to
disservice.
start is go to my YouTube channel and click on any of my ranking videos. That's the best place to start.
All
Because
right.
one, I need the analytics, and two, jokes aside, I will actually go through, even in videos, and I know Zio's done it too in videos, like talking about the positives of each show, but where a good start, like Zio's, we've talked about it here last week and the week before, getting into Ultraman.
Yep.
And I'm just like, Kamen Rider's the same way, Super Sentai the same way. People laugh because one of the things that got me into watching actual Super Sentai, besides checking out Zoo Ranger because of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, was a quick scene where I saw a mecha that had trains and it had a boner. And I was like, I need to
Oh
see
my
that
god,
season.
TokuTonic.
I was like, what is this show about? This could be entertaining. And then everyone's like, no, but it's only a quick scene, this and that. I'm like, that quick scene got me asking questions about this show. And then people are like, no, it's not even good. Don't even. I'm like, I'm still gonna watch it because I'm curious. Don't tell people not to watch something.
Mark,
That's another thing. Happens a lot. And
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, if that brings up a really good point, because you brought up Ultraman, and like when Zio brought up availability of stuff, if you actually just want to get into Toku and you haven't seen anything, the people who do Ultraman do a great job of just promoting almost a ton of seasons on their own YouTube channel, which you can just watch on YouTube for free with actual subtitles. So Ultraman,
I'm not
I
even
don't know
bring
who
up
they.
toxicity and Ultraman. Okay,
Yeah.
that's the worst of the Toku fandom. Not the Ultraman fans. It's people who don't watch Ultraman that just shit on us for enjoying Ultraman.
No, it's like anytime that I was doing the Twitch live streams, be like, all right, half of you guys can go ahead and leave because we're about to watch some Decker. And it would literally be that way. I just got used to it in terms of like my view count for Sunday nights when we're watching these shows.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, it's Ultraman time. Goodbye, half of you. And they would literally just drop off the face of the earth. They'd be like, you're right. Bye. I was like, okay,
20
cool.
people leave a room ever.
And it's funny, but then there are YouTubers and on Twitter people who literally don't watch Ultraman that just maliciously spend their time just being toxic towards Ultraman fans. And I'm just like, let us get hyped for something. I don't go in there and shit on the fact that you just watch mid anime like Naruto and One Piece. Like I don't go after your crappy anime that you watched. Like, don't leave my Ultraman alone.
The thing is, it's like I do feel that some people are just trying to cash in on the flavor of the month, and then they'll do like a video on Ultraman and be like, "Well, my analytics weren't good, so I don't think I'm going to cover Ultraman anymore." It's like, well, the thing is, just like you got to find the proper content to be making on that. Like I said outright that I wasn't going to review Decker on my channel because, well, first of all, time. Second of all,
Decker.
well, no. Second of all, it's just like I don't feel like I'm the proper like person to speak on it because I'm not the Ultraman expert, nor do I claim to be, nor am I trying to ride the wave of like trying to get in on this like when it's hot, because I know a lot of people released like episode 1 reviews or thoughts when Decker came out, and I was like, I actually had nightmares that I put out a video about Decker episode 1 to the point that I woke up and I was like, did I make that video? No, I shouldn't have made that video.
I wanted to cover Decker, and I decided not to because everyone else was doing it. And I was like, I really wanted to cover Decker. Two of my best performing videos of the last year that still are getting 200 to 300 views a month for the last couple of months still. My breakdown of the Shin Ultraman trailer, because I actually broke it down, went over the references to the original show in Ultra Q, and then my ranking of all the mainline series and giving my opinion on where a good point to start is. Those videos still perform very well. And my thing is, it's not Ultraman that's not getting the analytics for you. It's the fact that you're not talking about Ultraman enough in general. So it's a shock that, oh man, there's an Ultraman video on their channel. Like, they never talk about it. I haven't heard them talk about Ultraman ever, and all of a sudden they're a fan. That's weird. Whereas people know, hey, Mark's an Ultraman fan, and not just buying merch. That shelf behind me with all the manga and the nice light up mini bus and everything else isn't for show. I'm a huge fan, so when I talk about it, I know what I'm talking. I'm not an expert, but at least know genuinely people know, hey, Mark likes Ultraman. I'm curious about his opinion. It's not someone who's just like, Shin Ultraman's out in theaters, I got to review the film.
Yep.
But they went on a boat to get the film. I saw it in theaters, subbed and dubbed 2 nights in a row. Because that was the time when I was at Discord. It's like, yeah, I have a funeral. I was like, can I still dip out of the funeral and go see Ultraman? I didn't know the funeral was today.
Hey, the suit would match.
I showed up in a suit. I showed up in a suit after
one
funeral
suit to the other.
see Ultraman.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is, when you get people who, you also have to be careful if you're getting into Toku. When you go on YouTube, type in, that you don't fall into the trap of just the disingenuous videos that are going to sway you away from something. Like, you could tell when Ash, myself, or Zia will make a joke about a season or show. We're not serious about hating on something, but you will get people who are just trying to catch the wave. And so they're going to keep up with, the trend. And that also sways, it will sway your opinion. Like, before I started doing videos on YouTube, I tried to look around to see, okay, there is a niche audience for Toku stuff, and there weren't a lot of people doing it. And my earlier content was very close to emulating other Toku tubers. And it worked, but I felt so disingenuous with it and not genuine for how I am as a person. That's why I don't do reactions anymore, and I don't do quick clips. It's like, I review, I give my opinions more, and I don't just stare at stuff and giggle or laugh or wipe a tear from my eye and be like, okay, there's my video.
Oh God.
Or, say that something just looks cool without proper context or anything like that. It's just like the lack of how many videos exist that don't actually have substance to them, but manage to get a lot of views still always baffles me in terms of that aspect. But it's probably just because I'm a little old school when it comes to a lot of these things. And it's just like, I'm just like, if I'm going to do a recap, I'm going to be funny about it. And if once I get to my opinion, that's when it's going to be like serious me actually talking my points. But otherwise, it's like, if you want to recap, just watch the fucking episode. Otherwise, I'm going to try and make it somewhat entertaining so you can be there along for the ride of how I put my spin on this narrative. But yeah, it's like there's a lot of things when it comes to the community aspect of it, because now as I started growing as a content creator, I see like other people's own like community, like individual like YouTubers, TokuTubers, and things like that have their own audience. And sometimes there's an overlap between us, sometimes there's not. And sometimes you will get like those white knights and staunch defenders for one group versus another and things like that. I will admit that I've personally have been gatekept by some of the other content creators in some of those aspects. So it's really of like, you got to pick your battles on some of these, but at the same time, it's just like just know, like, some of us don't come from the realm of malice. Some of us literally just have a non-serious, like joking demeanor, because hell, some of us go through real motherfucking life, and this is just an outlet for us.
Yeah.
So it's just like, don't take some of the shit that people say like seriously or at face value, because it's just fandom. So
You're just here
100%.
to talk about stuff you like and hopefully not be a dick about it. I'm just saying.
I tell everyone there's always like the amount of times I've wanted to just delete my channel in the last 8 months has been like ridiculous. And it wasn't about the analytics or set. It was just like I was getting burnt out. I was exhausted. I have a real job. I work 50 hours a week. Then one time at 3 in the goddamn morning, I get a comment from someone saying, "I love your videos. It's like watching this video and how you reviewed it motivated me to start my channel and start doing videos." And I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, you got me crying in the club. Like,
They got me in again. God
yeah.
damn it.
And I was just like,
sometimes those comments do it.
yeah,
They do
and
it.
that one comment offset the multiple dozens I get on like ranking videos or this and that, where people are just like, why do you like this? Your opinion's wrong. Like, I stopped watching at this point and unsubbed because your opinion's shit. And I'm like, well, that one comment I got just offset all that other shit. And I'm just like, that's, and it's like, I check that person's channel out and I comment on their stuff every time they put a new video out. And I'm like, that's really good. I DM them too. I'm like, hey, did you try like use DaVinci Resolve to edit? You can actually tweak some of the stuff in the color balance because it looks a little your light on your camera because they're filming with their cell phone. And I'm like, yeah, just tweak that. Use Audacity, do the noise reduction on it, cut out the noise, and then put it back over in DaVinci. It takes an extra 5-10 minutes, but your content's good. It's going to get better. And I'm like, and one kid was like, oh, I got a copyright claim, like, or a strike in the video. And he's like, so I'm just going to not do videos. I'm like, no, still do videos, change it up.
Yep.
I've gotten strikes. I've gotten claims. You have to keep at it. And it's like reps. It's like working out. You got to keep doing your reps over and over again. And you're going to figure out the balance where you're not going to get your strikes. You're not going to get your claims. It's growing pains and you have to go through them. You can't go to someone else or wait and just hope it happens. You have to learn on your own what to do, which is why now I have the most growth on my channel that I've had in a long time, because I stopped taking shortcuts doing the easy content that I knew would work.
Yeah, and it is definitely a growth thing in the individual, because looking back, like I've only been in this for little over a year, and if you look at my first videos versus what I'm doing now, it's a night and day difference. And it's one of those of like the growth process of, first of all, getting comfortable behind the camera and properly talking, and another thing of just like learning the programs that you're using to cut and edit. And sometimes you'll get those comments, because I do admit I did start getting those comments myself from people just saying, hey, if you just adjust this or do that, then it'll help you out when it comes to making your content. And I took that advice and completely ran with it, to the point that I was also doing the same thing once I got to like over 1,000 subs and I started getting a little bit more notoriety. I started popping up in like smaller creators like channels and just giving them tips. And it's a trickle down effect of like content creators trying to help out other content creators because of that. Because if I see someone like that's like a new comment on me, I will click on your profile. Like, fun fact, a lot of you guys that are commenting in the chat, there's a good chance I've clicked on y'all's profiles just to see if y'all had a channel. Because when you're starting off in this thing and you just see like that new person, and the thing is, I hate that YouTube doesn't do this after you reach a certain amount of subs, but like my first 1,000 subs, I would normally get a notification of this person subscribed to you. And I would just click on that individual name and be like, oh, who's this person? See who they are. That type of thing. Once you get past like the 1,000 point, it doesn't tell you who subs to your channel anymore. You kind of have to like go into the analytics and actually see who's publicly subscribed to you to look at that. But otherwise, it's just like I have fun actually clicking through like individual names, seeing what they've got on there. Found out that some really big content creators from other mediums, like not related to Toku, follow me and things like that. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. And otherwise, it's just like it's really just a giant growth opportunity. This is how fandom should work. You help everyone build themselves up. You shouldn't gatekeep someone just because they might have a differentiating opinion. And I'm just gonna go ahead and name some names now.
Oh, no, please,
I was
Zio,
biting my
stop,
tongue the whole
stop.
time.
Stop, please. I'm
Listen,
begging
we're
you.
on your channel. If you listen, Zio.
No. So the
I
thing
can
is,
do
it's
it.
like
I
so
don't
there
care.
there was
For
one
my sake,
user
please,
called
no.
Cody Loves Toku,
Oh,
we're
this
going
guy,
into
this
it.
guy.
All right.
Okay.
Oh,
There
we're
we
talking
go.
about this. Okay.
and they would constantly comment on my channel. They would, and there would be someone that I followed back, and I completely like would give them tips and things like that to try and improve on his channel, how things would actually like improve for his aspect. Needless to say, he picked the fight with a much larger TokuTuber. That name I will not name. You can do the research yourself. That person
That's all.
got
Not saying it.
Gay
Out of respect. Not saying it.
Yep. That person
All right. Let's not-
ended up gatekeeping this content creator, lowly content creator, like hadn't even reached 1,000 subs or anything like that.
227 subs he had.
He deleted his
I
channel.
was at 227.
He deleted his channel after all the vitriol and hate that he got from that community. And I'm just like, that's not how you do this.
Rubbed himself off the internet.
You can't
completely.
weaponize your community like that because that's just the worst. Because you're sending a message that, like, hey, if you don't have the right opinion about Toku or the opinion that I like, or the fact that, don't critique me, otherwise I'm going to send my much larger, much more populated army to go harass you. And it's like, that goes against the whole starting a community to get people into this niche topic anyway, because the less people you have here, this is already a niche enough topic as these niche enough interest as this. You're going to just completely destroy them.
How many people have said my content is trash and that my opinion is trash about Saber or Revice or Toku in general? And
I said one of those
like,
things.
and I'm just like, that's cool. Like, that's your opinion, but this is also my opinion. If you think the show is trash, that's fine. But to say I'm trash, but here's the thing. I have in my video folder right now a 28-minute video going over that whole
We have Zygarde with the 5
Okay.
saying, I'm so glad you're bringing up this situation since no one else is mentioning it or talking about it. And that's because, of course, we're on the side of the spectrum that actually looks at every single thing on it. We're not going to brush it under the rug.
Oh no, it was it says never knew anything about any of this. Yeah,
because once again, it ends up being one of those like Twitter echo chambers. Once again, Twitter is definitely like very bad for a lot of different fandoms. And the fact that you can have this amount of people pile on an individual that's not even that major and drive them out of the like just doing possibly just a hobby that they absolutely enjoyed, and they just got driven out. Like when I saw everything happening, since I was busy with work at the time, I was just like, I'm going to try reaching out to this guy just to like, let him know that I have his support and things like that. I was too late because I was busy working. So when I finally got the chance, I was like, his channel's gone. Yeah. His channel's completely gone.
They went and flooded his comments on the video and everything. But here's the thing. The reason why I didn't put the video out is because I was like, I have thick enough skin where, listen, you guys want to come at me on the internet? I'm a grown-ass adult. I've said this constantly. I've said it last year with some situations. I don't throw accusations. I throw hands. I go to a lot of conventions. I can rent a boxing ring. I have money. I will rent one for us. The reason why I was thinking about not putting the video out is because I don't want the same effect to trickle to other people or people I even mentioned in the video, that even if I'm calling them out for the shit. But after a week of sitting on it, I'm going to put the video out next week because I don't fucking care. Like,
yeah,
because it was even the comment in the chat. It is weird. No one knew about this because it was swept under the rug.
And it's like, you don't understand, like, you can't just bully someone like that just for having their own take. Like, you can say it's a bad take, whatever you want, but the fact is, like, even if the moment a bigger channel like acknowledges, like, oh, there's this little guy who is just, either made a critique about me that is, I don't like personally or whatever, and you say like, I don't, and you are not like advocating, like, just stop it, do not fight this person, do not go to this person, don't harass this person, ignore them, leave them alone, because guess what? They're just leave them be. We don't want to fight.
They actually said that after the channel was deleted.
Because they felt bad about it. And it's just like, you should know what your actions are going to lead to. Like, real talk. Like, you don't do that shit. Like, This is legit a different side of bullying. The same bullying that most of these people like claim that they've had throughout their lives. They're just reigniting that and redirecting it towards someone else. You are the same thing that you hate.
It's true.
And I don't fuck
yes,
with that.
don't get me wrong. I understand what you mean. Like, oh yeah, you could take the hate from a bigger channel because comments, you know, there'll be more watch time and on their videos and all that stuff because you gotta go click on the video to, you know, comment on the video and all this other stuff. It's gonna like promote like your videos probably a lot more. But that doesn't change the fact that you're being harassed and bullied by majority of the people that you're trying to get to watch and communicate with to, you know, understand your side on the topic you're trying to talk to, because now you feel isolated, now you feel alone, you don't feel like you're part of the community because the community literally just saw you and said, I hate you, get out.
Yep.
And now you're out.
Mm.
And it's as any content creator, that just
his content was improving. I enjoyed his passion for Toku. He had some bad takes on things, but at the same time, it's like he's allowed to have an opinion. When you do this stuff to people, you're proving, oh, you can't have an opinion about my content or that is against anything my opinion is. Like you can't disagree with my opinion. You can't have a negative opinion of me. You have to fall at my feet. And I'm sorry. If anyone's going to be the general Zod of the Toku community, it's going to be me.
I'm gonna get you a black onesie.
I have one. You think I don't?
the thing.
I have a black onesie.
The other
I
thing
have
is like
Espeon one and the dark one, Umbreon. I have both. I have onesies for both of them.
Yeah.
They didn't release a Sylveon one, honestly. That's why.
I just feel like you got to take responsibility for this kind of thing because it's like,
Yeah.
as a bigger channel, like you got to know what's gonna happen when when something happens that's aimed negatively towards you, the head of said big audience. Like you've got to immediately say, leave them alone. Otherwise, people are gonna go out there. They're just gonna do whatever they want. And then by the time you're like, oh, okay, you guys should have left them alone. Well, sorry, it's already too late.
Oh yeah, no, there's people in this situation that I am friends with that I DM'd because I'm the type where I don't put stuff, I don't call people out publicly. Usually, I usually go to DMs and I talk, and there's a few people who were involved in this that weren't the main cause of it that contributed, and I was like, you're doing the same thing that happened to you 4 years ago. Like you're doing the same thing that you keep saying we need to stop doing. I was like, do you not see? I was like, if anything, you should find the code, like contact information, email him or Instagram or whatever, and be like, hey, I apologize. I was out of pocket. You know, like no one has growth and can't grow and learn from, you know, if mistake, even though I don't think it was a mistake, he voiced his fucking opinion.
Yeah.
But you don't grow as a person and get better if you're shunned and removed from everything. Now you're more isolated. It's going to fester. It's going to grow. You're going to get salty and negative. And that's how those are villain origin stories.
It is. It absolutely is. That's how you can drive someone to completely hate not just the fandom, but the community as a whole.
Yeah.
And it's just, that's not the proper way to handle things. You got to have open dialogue. You got to find some way, like, even if we disagree on points, you still got to have the proper conversations. Thing is, it's just like, yeah, it's like same shit happened to me last summer. Like some of y'all might not notice, but yeah, I've been completely the subject of the same kind of hate. I didn't delete my channel. I completely was depressed and completely like dead on the inside for about a straight week, but I still kept on. But the entire thing is, when you get to like a certain point on that, like these folks just block you. They block you without hearing your side or hearing your take. I don't even have the option to having a full line of dialogue with the people involved because I'm completely blocked on that aspect. So they can't even hear like my entire side of things, or the fact that they were taking things completely misconstrued in terms of aspects. It's the same thing here. They drove this man out of YouTube, so he can't even tell his tale at all.
And if you watch the whole video in context, like literally he went on just to rank his own stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and honestly, I mean, some of his ranking was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he's knowledgeable. He's watched a lot of Toku. He knew what he was talking about. Like I said, it's like you could disagree with opinions, and I will say you saying someone has a shit opinion or this and that is never the route to go. you could say, hey, I disagree with what they thought, but then again, they haven't watched as much. Like, that's how you word it. But then again, it's all about communication, how you word things. If you're not comfortable on camera and you jumble your words and you say things like early Mark, who used to do, podcasts, I used to jumble my words and say things without thinking ahead of time all the time. And I got in trouble for it a lot. And it's something you learn and you grow with when you learn, oh, maybe I should have worded this differently, but he doesn't get that chance.
Yep.
It's also
not at all.
His opinion probably is from the standpoint of, oh, I can't talk about these people that are up on Mount Olympus because then I get shunned from the community.
And it really does set us one of those precedents is I'm so big and massive that like if you have a differing opinion or if I just don't like you, you can't make content on me. Otherwise, you're gonna be gone. And it's just gonna be as simple as that. People are just gonna flood your gates
And the issue with the Toku space as a whole when it comes to content creation is that there's not a lot of us. So why weed out the few of us that are just for that? Like, there should be a proper contrast of opinions. There should be proper dialogue and difference when it comes to our content. Because if it was all the same shit, everyone would be bored.
It's true.
I did some research for my video. The amount of Toku content creators under 5,000 subs, hell, under 1,000 subs compared to over 5,000 subs. Over 5,000 is barely double digits. Under 1,000, under 500 even, so many. And I went through it. I found a whole bunch that were like, I put some in your Discord. I was like, hey, check out this guy who does like a lot of good Godzilla Toku stuff. All he needs is better thumbnails, maybe a little better audio cleaned up. Very entertaining, passionate, good merch collection. It's a good way to get my attention. And I'm like, I was doing research. I was like, finding all these other ones. Like, these people are the ones that are like putting out really good quality. They don't have the subscriber count, but that's why for the longest time I stopped looking at my analytics unless it's a milestone, because I'm like, I don't care how many subscribers I have anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like, let me, like, I'm it from the selfish, egotistical side. We are taking time out of our day to be on camera to share what we love and our opinion with some majority strangers on the internet. And you can't sit there and bash and try and push away someone. This could be their outlet. You don't know what, like you said, you don't know what their personal life, what they're going through.
Yeah.
Him sitting down and recording this 20-minute video and this and that could have been the highlight of his week. He's like, yeah, I put out a banger. This could be good. Look at all these views. Wow, I got a lot of views. Then you see the comment. Then you go click on the comments and you just see venom being spewed towards you.
Ash, out of curiosity. Sorry. I was gonna ask if Ash had any thoughts on this because you haven't.
Yeah. Ash has been like sitting on his. I'm
curious because Ash is in the PR community.
I was hoping Ash doesn't come around with this different opinion. Like, I disagree.
You're all trash. Leave.
Community is the best community because I'm over here swimming in the double digits.
This is my show now.
I'm in the double K's.
Yeah, like it's hard to say. Like I've noticed like gatekeeping here and there. Like you could say it's sort of like high school in a way with a lot of cliques, with who's in what community, who's what. I think I'm cool with most people in the community because I'm a cool dude. But but yeah, like there is like gatekeeping and like Mark said, there's not many Toku communities. Like we all do different things. We all do different niches here and there. And the ones who are like big, there's like ones who are far between. Like there's only a couple of content creators have like big numbers. But I feel like despite like the size of us and the different growth of all of us, we should be coming together.
Yeah. I agree.
No, that absolutely should be the way that it goes, is that this community, we all love the same shit. Like, regardless of, like, if we have differentiating opinions between one season to another, we all love the same shit. So
we're under the same umbrella of Tokusatsu.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
We're all fans.
Like this is not as varied as, say, something like anime. Like, we've only got a handful of shows. Like, this is not the 70s where they had, like, 30,000 Toku shows. We got a handful of Toku shows. So it's like we're all talking about the same shit, even
Yeah.
in different flavors, different lights. And like I tell most people when I talk to on Discord, it's look, we have differentiating opinions. I'm not going to shit on you for it. We can completely have a proper open dialogue about it, but I'm not going to like throw you out my server just because I disagree with your opinion.
Mm.
That's a good thing. It's like me in real life. It's like, even though I may vote one way, I will have friends in real life that vote the completely opposite way. We'll have our debates from time to time, but at the end of the day, we might be out drinking. So it doesn't matter. These arguments are going to happen, but at the end of the day, just realize that it's all superficial. And it
Mhm.
doesn't mean anything of proper malice or actual ill intent towards the individual.
true.
It's just
Also,
fandom.
Plus,
Zio,
it
you
could be
wanna
worse.
talk
We
about
could be a part of
Forza?
the Marvel fandom or DC
Exactly.
fandom.
Well,
Yes.
Star
Oh,
Wars
no.
fandom.
That's
I was,
Venom.
I was a
That's
part of all
toxic
those
right there.
fandoms for so long, and let me tell you, anything bad that's been happening in the Toku fandom, nothing compared to those ones. I will
Mhm.
never return.
Oh
I'm
God.
We just
Oh.
got fewer talking heads in the Toku community, and that's what
Yeah.
I feel is the,
I
Yeah.
feel
the
like,
issue.
yeah, it's the
I think
community
it's
itself
mostly
is really
on
still
Twitter.
building.
Like, not many people on camera. Like, not many YouTubers. Like, it's mostly the Twitter opinion for Toku.
Oh, absolutely. Most
Toku
definitely.
Twitter's trash.
They
I'll
are
say
the
it right now.
prevailing like voice when it comes to a lot of this. And the thing is, it's like I don't interact with any of the other communities. Like I don't go on Reddit, I don't go on 4chan, I
Yeah,
don't
they go
go
on Reddit.
on
Mhm.
like I if I touch Twitter, I always feel like it's a mistake because it's like if I do, I'm instantly getting spoiled on shit or I'm getting
Mhm.
like hot takes on a different thing, and I'm just like, I don't care, like whatever. I barely touch my Instagram. I suck when it comes to like social media. I'm not like big on it. I'm more about actual interpersonal conversations. I'm very old school. Like anybody that's on my Discord can attest. I spend most of my time on VC. Like
yeah.
all we do is just shoot the shit in VC.
Yep.
Like actually having conversations
Half the time
versus
we're not even talking
typing
about
out
Toku.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't
we're
even
not.
talk
We're
about
talking
Toku
about real
90%.
motherfucking life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Everyone's got issues. They just want to talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just
Speaking
like
of
what
issues-
brought you in was Toku, but then you stay for the actual relationships that you build, the friendships along the way. It's the
And
real
the-
treasure.
And the non-malicious roasting of each other.
Oh yeah, yeah. The
you mean
nonstop roasting we
Mhm.
have.
The Denny's parking lot. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
God. Oh, also Zio. At some point, so you want to have that fight about Forza at some point?
That means I got to rewatch it.
You come on.
You
please.
should.
You got to do it, please.
It's a good show.
please.
It's a great show.
It's really good.
S
It's
tier.
really good. Come on, trust us in this one.
It's that or Ghost. They're both S tier, anyways.
And you don't want to do Ghost, trust me.
Mm.
I don't want to do Ghost. I don't want to finish that series. Like
Looks
I
like
I
Melody has
noped
to
out.
rewatch it.
I am good.
You know,
I'm
ha-
rewatching Ghost. I am
actually, has,
rewatching Ghost.
Has who done a history of Forza yet? Because I'll just watch that and formulate my opinions
Yes.
off of that.
I think
Yes,
so.
he has, and
Okay.
I don't like his opinion on it.
Listen,
Don't stop. I don't want to
No.
see it.
nope. I swallowed
Oh.
it. I was like, nope. Not gonna say anything.
God damn it.
It's actually
Come on, Zio.
I was about to hit stop video. This is a joke. Stop video.
It's like how deep down this rabbit hole do we want to go? Like,
Listen,
nah.
I'll just put the video out. I have two
Alright.
actually. There's two different versions.
Also, Mark, I'm not telling you my opinions yet, but I am on episode 15 of Ghost for the second time.
Nice. Finish it.
Man,
Finish
like
it. Finish it. We'll talk.
I just noticed Ash and Mark, y'all got the same water bottle over there. What's going on? Like
Dude,
y'all out
this is
here
from-
with them big jugs,
Listen,
them big
I'm not
gulps.
gonna say the
Big
brand
gulps.
on it because they didn't pay me. So, but it's from my local nutrition shop near my gym. They keep giving me half-gallon jugs for free, so I got like 5 of them. If they want
Man,
to
if
pay
only
me, I'll
Space
say the
Fives
name.
was still alive.
Damn.
You could revive them for a V Cinema.
You can. Hey, listen, no one's dead in Toku forever.
That's
Listen,
true.
Zygarde, I want to put the hat on, but like I can't with the headphones, so I won't be able to hear anything.
But
You were
before we
wearing
went,
that
he
good
had the hat. He had
It
the
was
hat.
such a good hat. It was such a good
Dude,
hat.
it's
Mm.
my wife got me that. Like, I was
If
like,
you want to see
"Oh,
more of it, watch his latest video, please.
oh wow, look at Claudio over here.
All right. So needless to say, I think the big thing when it comes to toxicity in the fandom is just have proper open dialogue. Don't try and like put somebody in a corner and just try and just drive them off the end of the earth because no, 9 times out of 10, that's what you wish wouldn't happen to you. Why would you do it to someone else?
Yeah.
You're a community of people that just likes the same thing. Just appreciate that people are going to come at it from different experiences, different walks of life. And that's how reality works. When you're doing a
Mhm.
job interview, you're not going to start off as manager. No, you're working your way up. Everyone's at a different point in their life, and you're just at one point while someone else might be on another. Don't shit on someone just because of that. Like, literally, we all learn from our failures, and we can't all just succeed from the beginning. It's the way it should be. Like, no one, well, some people can fail up, and some people can just win down. It varies in terms of different perspectives, but look, you gotta learn from your mistakes in terms of different aspects. And 10th anniversary movie, like, I did a whole review on that.
Yeah. Also, to add to that, I know some of this stuff that we've been saying is going to get clipped and be shared in other communities. I just want you to know I meant everything I said. My DMs are open. I am available for conversations.
If you want your ass handed to you here, meet me at X location.
Wow. Listen, do I look like a Waffle House employee?
And look, my Discord is not blocked off by any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It's in the description of every single one of my videos. If anyone actually wants to have a proper conversation with me regarding any of this, my lines are open.
Yeah. And I've had conversations on Twitter with people who have had disagreements with. I am all for it. If you don't want to just do tweets back and forth in the DMs, we could jump at a VC on freaking Discord. I have squashed many issues with people via Discord and DMs. But the thing is, I'm sorry, like I said, like, I'm not gonna approach you because guess what? I'm not in the wrong with anything. You're the one, like, you want to get mad and block, that's fine. But there's always two sides to a story. There's always different varying opinions and motivations for why people do things. And yeah, I'm gonna end my sentence there because I almost said names and went on a
I will add though, it's some of the best conversations you can have regarding Toku is having a conversation with someone who absolutely doesn't like something you like, because you will learn either new things that you've enjoyed about the series, or maybe you'll look at things a different way. And the other is also the same way. If you absolutely don't like something, talk to someone who loves it, because you might figure out, hey, maybe there's something there for you too. Because if you both have the same opinion about something, there is nothing really being said that hasn't been said 30,000 times already.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna hate on something, back up your facts. That's another thing.
Cloudy pulled me into a private VC chat once, and he's like, "Don't tell anyone." He's like, "But I think I love Saber," and I just started. I was like, a child.
Okay,
you're like, let me get the lotion. I need you to talk more.
You're back in the will.
Okay, so here's I think how Mark started liking me after I told him, one, I started liking Saber, and two, how many Seiken swords, like not like the drivers, the actual like full on swords releases that I've obtained in the past couple.
Honestly, I like anyone who spends money on Toku merch. So
I found the clips; they're being hung on the wall.
Nice, but yeah, that's the thing. It's like, even like last year with what went on with you, it's like I had people literally blocking me and DMing me and like talking shit to me for like defending you, and I'm like, I'm not just defending; I'm also being just a rational like voice, because you can't do like base things out of context for anybody. You're never going to get full context either watching a video. You're going to get full context talking to someone directly. And that's how it should always be. Direct conversation. And like Ash said, the community is so small, and it's one of those things where it's like, that's why Discord is easy. That's why Zio's Discord. I don't even use my Discord. I'm in Zio's all the time because I'm like, this is chill. I don't have to do anything.
I'm in Danny's Discord all the time. I'm in Geekdom's Discord all the time.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool Discord that I wish I would spend more time in. I just pop in on VC every now and then when he's doing some stuff, but otherwise it's just like, yeah, I'm too busy on other aspects.
This stream has been brought to you by Discord. Join one.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were trying to like do a fake ad. I'm like, don't do a fake ad.
No,
only for the money.
This stream is monetized, and all the proceeds go to absolutely towards funding this. No.
All proceeds go to Bandai.
Yes.
Maybe I'll finally buy Nitro. No.
All of our proceeds go to Toku in some way.
You get Nitro for free with Game Pass like every 3 months.
I don't do Xbox. It's
really?
not my thing.
You get it free.
No.
It's great. I'm boosting the server right now. I think so is Zygarde.
Bro, I play Weeb games. Weeb games only exist in the Japanese systems.
I play
True, and you don't get anything free there.
Only.
I'm like original flavor Weeb. Like, that's the reason why I look the way I do. I'm a Weeb that grew up.
I'm glad that.
How far you get in Engage yet?
Chapter 15.
Okay.
I'm fired
I was
up.
wondering if you were done grinding yet.
This stream is brought to you by Never would I sponsor such a mid-ass game as Memory of Heroes.
Memory of
Never.
Heroes.
Never. I have a whole tangent about that game that'll have to be a whole nother stream because I've already gone on like 2 tangents this stream.
I like that game. So
on
I
a
can't
separate
talk. I
note-
like that game. So
Go to
I-
twitch.tv/Diagito, where he'll be playing Memory of Heroes.
Oh my god, yo.
they did a
No.
patch. They didn't fully fix it for the PS5, but they did a patch for the PS5 for it. It's not bad.
I have it on Switch, so all
I
right.
do too. I have it on both because it switches.
All right, Ash,
Yeah.
what's your final 2 cents when it comes to this whole shebang before we go ahead and call it a night since we're entering the 3-hour
Yeah.
mark?
3 hours, that's crazy. Be
What?
kind and take care of each other. I'll just end on that positive note.
Wise words said by Jerry Springer
Nice.
at the end of every single one
I
of his
understood that
episodes.
reference.
Yes. On that note, yes, I think we'll just end the stream again at that mark. Where can people find you?
A Nerd Named Mark on Twitter and on YouTube. I do Toku videos, and I'm going to be streaming building this because I like
Nice,
Blade.
nice.
And this is upside down. Hold on, we'll fix that in post. There we go. But yeah, no, just I do Toku content. I'm usually wholesome. I try not to be mean, but I make no guarantees.
Damn.
And Ash, where can they find you at?
I'm Deoxy360 on Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that. I talk about Power Rangers and Toku and stuff like that. I can be a little bit mean, but only if, like, depends what you say. If you say something cringe.
Oh my god, so Zygar
no
just
super
quickly
chat.
did a super
That's
chat. $5 from Zygar saying any super chats you donate will go to Zio's dwindling bank account. As it has no money and will forever be in the negative. There,
Oh
you're
my
you're kind of
Too
right. I
real.
keep having it. Literally,
Too
the
real.
last couple of weeks, I've had to sneak money from my savings into my. No, I'm not gonna get into it, but yes, this has been a real thing.
Yes.
Probably
no.
anything you want to plug since you don't really have shit.
Well, I have one thing, but I'm not plugging it yet because I'm still working on it. But other than that, I do want to say, I just want to have a last comment, a final comment, just to say to everyone at the stream, much like all of people on that side, and by that side I mean from that certain communities, and their favorite season build. Remember that main character spread love and peace. So please, follow the message.
All right, and I will say that I don't say like and subscribe, but definitely go to Mark and the Oxy's channels and like and subscribe them because I never gas myself up. So on that note, I will go ahead and end things there. Until next time, bye.